We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Family Day at the EKKA, and welcome to some high school esports. Today, the name of the game, Farming Simulator 2019. And for those of you who in the audience who happen to know what esports are, this might sound like a confusing title.
Yeah, I mean, we're adding it here because the EKKA, it's all about farming, and who wouldn't want to watch some Farming Simulator? So yeah, it might not be the most common known game, but having played it, it's very fun, enjoyable to watch, should be entertaining for everyone.
Yeah, it is going to be an entertaining day, that is for sure. And of course, the other key word, a part of that introduction, was the word high school. 3 high schools are going to be doing, I can't say battle anymore. I can't say, sporting competition. But 3 high schools, I should say, are going to be trying to learn how to manage, drive, tractors, balers, figure out how to best utilize, how best to strategize, and piece together as many hay bales as possible. Somerset College, Forest Lakes High School, and Earnshaw are going to be our 3 schools competing today. Single round robin followed by a grand final. It is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Farming Simulator is a very team-based game. All 3 players have to work together very well to get the win over their opponents. So it should be interesting to see how these teams work together.
Yeah, it is going to be a fun battle for sure, but before we do get too into it, I would like to say a couple special thank yous. First of all, to the Computer Alliance for supplying all the tech available that you're seeing here on stage, to EPOS for providing, some prizings, which we can actually show off a little bit right here, these headsets. A little bit out of focus. The point is the H3, this black one, that's going to be for the runner-ups. The H6 Pro is going to be for whichever schools wind up in first place. So a big congratulations to them, as well as a thank you to Giant Software for helping sponsor this event.
Yeah, some very nice looking headsets there for the winners and runners-up. So I would certainly be trying to get those prizes if you can. But yeah, it should be a good day.
I think it is going to be a lot of fun. Now, we'll explain sort of the rules and what exactly our schools are going to be trying to do when we get into the game, but the essential objective is to score more points than your opponent. That much should be obvious. You score points by collecting hay bales. You collect hay bales by going out into the field, gathering all the material, tying them up, throwing them into the barn in and of itself. All of this sounds simple, but when you get into the game, the controls of the vehicles, they try to simulate realism, I feel like, to an extent, but you're trying to control a tractor with a keyboard and mouse, and that is where the difficulty lies.
Yeah, and I think people will really see how tough this game is when the games get started. I know I struggled with it a couple years ago, and I think that the players will take some time to get used to the controls and try to get as competitive as they can, but should be good to see.
Yeah, so you're the one who's competed in this event. 2 years ago, we had a similar situation here at the EKKA. We played the same game. Mm-hmm. It's changed a little bit since then, but from a player's perspective, what are like the key things that you're going in there trying to remember?
I think communication between teammates is key, because you are focusing on your own things, but you also need to know where your teammates are, what they're doing, because you can't really score points on your own. You have to have your teammates' support. You have to know what's going on around you, including what your opponents are doing, where they're up to, how to outscore them as best you can and efficiently as possible.
Yeah, so obviously that communication is going to be something we will be keeping our eyes on. Another thing you guys should be keeping your eyes on as well are those QR codes that are kind of all over this XP area. If you haven't already, do please go ahead and scan that, where you can learn a few more tidbits of information when it comes to esports, some of the games and events we have on offer here at XP. And there's a lot of fun different games going on. Earlier in the EKKA, we were playing Rocket League. On Friday, we're going to have the League of Legends going down, and then on Sunday, that's where we get a little bit of FIFA, a little bit of e-racing. So all sorts of games, all sorts of events happening here. The big one happening right now, though, is going to be Farming Simulator. We're about to get ready to go, I do believe. That is the QR code, though. If you haven't scanned it yet, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that QR code also shows you some information about the Gamers Ground at UQ, so if you want to check that out, also feel free. As we look forward to starting this game 1, I think.
Yeah, we're on our way. Somerset College will be taking on Forest Lakes for our opening game. After this, we will start to look at Earnshaw getting involved. It is a single round robin, as mentioned before. The two best schools will then compete in a grand final as we are going into our ban phase at the moment because, yes, this game does have a pick and ban phase, all revolved around actual equipment that you can use, purchase out in the field. I'm not sure these high school students are buying, Puma tractors, but they have been incorporated into this game.
Yeah, and I think the teams, if they have done their research, will be hopefully using these bans as effectively as possible, trying to tactically figure out which would hinder their opponents but not themselves as much as possible, as we see the
coming through at the moment. John Deere, New Holland, Case IH Puma all being taken away. And interesting that we're seeing a lot of the stackers actually being targeted when it comes to the bans at the moment. The stackers are what you use essentially to stack the hay bales onto a conveyor belt to put into the barn in and of itself, and that's where the points will come in. First pick will be going to the blue side. That is Forest Lake, so they will get their first selection in terms of a vehicle to use. Now, when you are in this, you do need essentially a tractor, or as they're called in this game, machines, as well as a baler. A wagon is available, and a harvester is the other key piece of equipment. And we are just zooming through this right now. John Deere, AGCO Ideals, all of these getting selected.
Yeah, and both sides picking the bottleneck perk. I think I've seen, like last year when we played, I'm pretty sure every side also picked the bottleneck perk, which for those that don't know, raises the bridges of the opposition side, meaning they can't get any bales into their farm if they don't already have them near the barn, which can be very useful. What's
interesting to me, though, is Forest Lake has actually opted to not grab I believe like the John Deere 1424C, which would have been very helpful, I suppose, in creating those hay bales. I'm going to be a little bit curious to see how they're going to play this out as a response. Our first vehicles, though, are getting locked in. You can see it's the Fendt 1050 Vario as well as the Massey Ferguson, and we're just zooming right through this, actually. A bunch of lifters being selected right now from each side, and just looking at some of the equipment that's being taken right here, you can also see the perks underneath, like the individual player perks. There are perks like Under Pressure, Runner, Archimedes. All these have different effects on the game.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see because it does look like all the sides have picked different perks. Obviously, both sides picking Under Pressure and Archimedes, actually, but the Runner and Easy Stack, it'll be interesting to see how they match up and which will benefit the team that picks each more.
Yeah, interesting that the vehicle I'm most excited to watch right now is actually being run by Somerset's Monster, to going for that Massey Ferguson 9407S. This is one of the fastest vehicles. I mean, speed is always going to be key in events like this. Either way, we are underway. On to the farm itself. You're the one who has played this game in the past, so I'm just going to kind of call over to you right now. Can you tell me what exactly we should be seeing as they do make their way out on to the farm?
Yeah, they want to be getting to their vehicles as fast as possible, not waste any time driving unnecessarily when they could be getting out onto the field. I think SSC may have got a better start away as all three of their players are now harvesting, while, as we can see, the blue ghosts in the background on the right off screen now are only just making their way down, while SSC are already harvesting.
Yeah, so let's explain the map a little bit, because we can talk about the players running out there, but essentially each side has their own farm. Right now we're looking at the red farm. We can also take a look at the blue farm as well. You can see the ghosts of your opponents just kind of there on said farm. But the object of the game is to go out there into this wheat field and again start sort of making those wheat bales and eventually take them over to your barn, which is kind of located here, and you can see its location based on where the barn essentially is. You go ahead and you harvest them initially, get your nice lines in a row, start collecting them as you go through, make sure you get them in the hay bales, and eventually load them up into this barn, up the conveyor belt, into the top part of the barn for more points. If you can't get it onto the conveyor belt, you put it through underneath, you get a little bit less points in that sort of process. And this entire game is essentially about management Furthermore, though, there are other areas. On the opposite end of where your barn is, you kind of have the silos over here. Now you can deposit grain into these silos to increase the speed and increase your score multiplier to get yourself more points at the end of the day. So these are sort of the two areas we are going to be looking at once they've, finished kind of getting things running out on the farm itself.
Yeah, but as we saw near the barns earlier, the bottleneck perk both teams have activated means that those two bridges on the right-hand side are up at all times, meaning there can be a gridlock trying to get the bales over to the barn. As we see that Somerset have extended away, they have a 7,000 grain lead as we look at the bottom left, but it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this game progresses. It's still early.
As we're going to watch Duck actually put the first hay bale in, and you will get bonus points for doing that. Not opting to go for the conveyor belt, instead putting it into the barn itself, and by beating out Forest Lakes just that quickly, it's actually an 80 to 77 point lead.
Yeah, but it is still very early, 12 and a half minutes to go. A lot can change, so I think SSC do look like they are in a better position. They are extending their grain lead out massively, but it'll be interesting as the Sixth Sense gets activated by one of the teams. I didn't see which one, but that could be a useful perk. Or I think it might have been Forest Lake.
Yeah, we'll see if that does come into play as we're going to watch and see if Peanut Butter Woman will be able to, again, stack that hay bale. Now, we saw a team put it into the barn itself before. Now we're going to see if Forest Lake is going to be able to stack it on that conveyor belt for 3 times as many points. Lining it up at the moment. That looks like a pretty nice delivery. Now, this conveyor belt may look simple, but if you're even slightly off, sometimes it can fall down at that last possible moment. That doesn't look to be the case here. So in about 3, 2, 1, 20 points go over to the Forest Lake side, and they will retake the lead.
Yeah, and we can see up at the scoreboard up top, neither side have put any grain into their silos yet, both with the ×2 multiplier. I think that might be something that may look to be exploited by either side, because it's looking like both of them are ignoring it right now. It could be a good play to try get their multiplier up, because multiplying up, I believe, reduces your opponent's multiplier at the same time, so it's almost a double whammy.
And neither team has also opted to sort of grab the vehicles in the middle right there, which can help them out. Danny Boy, in fact, is kind of trying to figure out how to drive. You need to lower your harvester in order to start harvesting that wheat, my friend. At the moment, not really doing that. Useless Snow, just having a little run through the field as well, just trying to get themselves into a different vehicle. Meanwhile, back on the other side, I can't help but feel like at this stage, Somerset is looking a little bit more organized.
Yeah, as we see bottom left again, they do have 4 bales to 0 lead, so if they can deposit those bales into their barn, they will grow a nice, healthy lead. As we see Wendy from Somerset depositing some grain into that silo, and we look up top, the ×2.4 multiplier has reduced Forest Lakes to 1.6, especially considering Somerset already have 4 bales ready to go. That could be massive points for them.
Yeah, exactly. So to kind of put that into perspective, when you drop your grain off into the silo, what that essentially is doing is increasing your own scores multiplier while affecting your opponents and kind of hurting theirs at that same token. I think another sort of place that people should be looking at is the combo down below. If you're able to get 10 hay bales into your barn in a row before your opponents get any, it does give yourself, bonus points in that regards. However, with 0 bales currently on the farm compared to 7 that we see on the Somerset side, I do believe Somerset will be breaking the combo of Forest Lakes, and possibly quite soon, because it looks like Duck is getting themselves lined up to start getting some hay bales into their own barn.
Yeah, and it might be that Somerset are aware of that combo and are getting a lot of bales ready to go in a quick dash. They've got 10 now, so if they can get all of those in a row before Forest Lake can get theirs in, plus the 2.4 times combo, it would be massive for Somerset. As Duck tries to line it up, it is a lot harder than you'd think, and it really hurts when the bale falls off the side. I think that looks maybe all right, maybe slightly to the left. We'll see as it goes up.
I mean, if this one is going in, that will be Somerset taking the lead in this matchup. Should be worth noting, we are playing a best of 3 in each of these matches, so even though there's 15 minutes on the clock for game number 1, even if you drop that first game, you can have up to 2 more chances to bring it back. That hay bale was good, 24 points over to the Somerset side, and they have retaken the lead.
Yeah, and it's looking like, again, 13 bales now on the Somerset side. The baler of Forest Lake, there goes their first bale, but look at all the grain that they've missed out on. They'll be a bit delayed now to get all that up, whereas Somerset, they've already got a 12 bale lead. If they can get all of that over to the barn, that would be absolutely huge, and I don't see Forest Lake coming back if they can get all 15 of those bales in.
That said, Forest Lake, they've started to organize themselves a little bit more. You can see, the harvester has set up those nice, even fields of grain. They've got the baler coming through right now being driven by Useless Snow, and you have Peanut Butter Woman collecting the hay bales looking to bring it back. So Forest Lake has finally got themselves organized. They've got their farm kind of going. They have some motion, and this is what I was talking about before and what you mentioned as well here, Ripperoo, in terms of you need that communication, you need that strategy, you need it to all come together. Everyone on these farms should have a role, and as soon as you can get that synergy going, you can start to get the points. Unfortunately, though, for our team in blue, they may have put it together too little too late, because we can see Duck right now once again heading back to his own farm, getting ready to add even more hay bales into the barn halfway through game number 1. It's a pretty large lead with 19 bales still on the farm being set up to be scored for the Somerset side.
Yeah, and I think 19 bales would be more than enough for Somerset. I don't really think that they need to be harvesting anymore and preparing any more bales. I think all three, if they can get the bales off the field and next to the barn, and then all three focus their efforts on getting those bales into their barn, I think it'd be too much to stop.
Yeah, that said, though, I mean, when you take a look at the Somerset side, they might have a lot of hay bales, but you're right, they're not really at the barn. Duck is the only one they're trying to score the points. Remonster and Wendy are on the opposite end of the farm right now, just kind of still collecting what they can, but no one has taken any of the machinery that can easily transport those hay bales. So, wow, yes, Somerset might have a lot of hay bales on the farm itself. It's all on the opposite end, and I think everyone who works at farms knows how large these can be.
Yeah, and if Forest Lake can get a combo going of they've got 12 bales as well now. They're really getting this up. If they get those 12 bales, as it looks like Peanut Butter Woman is trying to get across the bridge, it is more challenging than it looks. I remember when we played, I think we got a tractor stuck in the river below somehow, but...
Yeah, this is an interesting approach, just driving the hay bale forward right there. And it looks like Peanut Butter Woman stuck in. Here comes the bridge. Here we go. This is... OH&S, please look away at this moment, because we do not encourage this kind of farming practice. Peanut Butter Woman seems to have gotten themselves stuck. This is an unfortunate place to be in. Hopefully the bridge should fall soon and they'll be able to right themselves, but as long as they're in this position, it's going to be very difficult for Forest Lakes to get points. And yeah, abandon tractor, get out for your own safety.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was talking about. It's so easy to get your machinery stuck on the bridges, especially when they move as sporadically as they do. Be interesting to see if Peanut Butter Woman can get that tractor do a 12-point turn and try get it. Oh, as the bridge goes back up.
Oh, not again. This is a small disaster right now for the Peanut Butter Woman, unfortunately, who has jumped into the river. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes you just need to go for a swim on like a hot, winter day here. But either way, Peanut Butter Woman gets a little bit wet. We'll be able to wait for that bridge to drop back and then get themselves going very, very shortly. As taking a quick look back over at these farms at the moment for the red side of Somerset. They've increased their lead 152 at the moment to 97, under 5 minutes left. And both of these schools right now really need to be getting some hay bales towards their barn and into it to get those points in.
Yeah, and Somerset have now got that 3 out of 10 combo. I think Forest Lake really need to try break that, or this could get out of hand for them. But again, both sides, they've got more than enough bales. I think this last 5 minutes should be spent entirely on getting as many bales in. I don't think they need to create any more bales. They've only got 4 minutes left, and that time will absolutely fly by. Like, there's 3 unattended bales by the barn of Somerset. If they could get those in, that would be a 6 combo. That would be probably a 120 point lead for them. And that would be massive.
But there's no one there. In fact, if anything, Forest Lakes could be the team to take the lead right now, because Peanut Butter Woman has gotten their tractor unstuck, and now with the hay bales that one hay bale that they have there, it can help them get their points back in, but that one's not going to make it up, and this is what we were talking about before. Using the conveyor belt could be risky. I'm not even sure Peanut Butter Woman is aware that the hay bale did not go in, because they're already back at the bridge trying to grab that second one.
Yeah, although I don't mind that, trying to get that second one. We know how much trouble the bridge caused them. I think trying to get that hay bale away from it and get both towards the barn to focus on that might not be a bad play. I think if they get both those two in, it will be a lot closer than Somerset would like. They've got 25 bales. They have absolutely zero chance of them getting all 25 in my opinion. In 3 minutes, that seems highly unlikely.
No, I mean, that's not going to happen, but one of the good things, I suppose, for Somerset is Duck is heading back, has a couple bales they can put in themselves. They've brought the baler with them. But more members of the Forest Lake side are coming to help out Peanut Butter Woman. They're bringing the hay bales. They're going to get themselves going as quickly as possible, trying to get those points in. The race will be on. However, just looking at the resources that Forest Lakes have available, unfortunately, I do not believe they even have enough points within the general vicinity of the barn. And for Somerset, fortunately for them, they should be looking at a win.
Yeah, and I think I just saw Duck's Ghost put in another 10 points down the bottom, which it's not much, but it might be the difference if Forest Lake managed to get 3 or 4 more bales up in a row. Who knows? It could be close. This is where this game actually does get very entertaining when it's close like this in the last couple of minutes.
I'm going to burst your bubble right here. This one isn't close. When games get close, yes, they can get exciting, but as it stands right now, it's just not at all possible, I feel like, for Somerset to come back in this one. Forest Lake, they got that early lead. They had consistent bales going in it throughout, but
wrong teams.
I don't see it happening as we see Somerset, once again, almost getting no one through, but not quite able to find it.
Yeah, I think it's the other way around. Somerset actually leading this one by 65 points, I think that is. Yeah, I have to agree. I don't see Forest Lake coming back with this little time. If they'd got a couple bales in, maybe if Peanut Butter Woman hadn't got stuck on the bridge, we might have seen a different story. But even then, the sheer amount of bales that Somerset had on their side.
But I still wouldn't even call this that efficiently, unfortunately, for either of these teams, because, yes, you were able to create 26 bales, but when you look at the Somerset barn, they're not there. Most of those bales are still out in the field right now. They were never really able to transport them back over to where they would have been able to score points. Now, it should be worth noting, as we were talking, a little bit of action happening down here. Wendy depositing a lot of grain over to the Forest Lake side, so you can see their multiplier going up, and that is the correct move to make at this junction. Unfortunately, they don't have enough hay bales, or do they? We see one about to potentially go in. Danny Boy's going to be looking for another, but the one thing that you have to be careful of, the higher your multiplier goes, the slower your conveyor belt moves, and that means you really have to start stacking them quickly.
Yeah, I think that was actually Wendy, as I see the Somerset multiplier increasing, clawing that back, making sure Forest Lake don't get as much of a multiplier as they can with 45 seconds to go. I think this one's done. I don't see Forest Lake coming back. Although a 50-point margin, game 2, you never know. That really could be turned around. I'm sure they're still both teams learning the ropes of this game.
Yes.
I don't see either way. I don't think either team is a clear favorite for game 2 or to take this series. As Forest Lake get another 21 points.
Yep, they got that one in, but still 26 down means they'll need 2 hay bales to go through. They get one underneath. If they had 2 more, it would get to 170. If they had 3 more underneath, they might have been able to do it. Danny Boy coming with the baler is going to deposit a second one, but you can see the ghosts of the red side. They're just forcing a bunch of hay bales in, putting this game out of reach. Game number 1, it's going to go to the team in red. Somerset College win it by 46.
Yeah, that was a really good first game. Both teams obviously still learning the controls of the game, but that was closer than it looked to be around halfway mark. Considering both teams 5 bales from Forest Lake and 8 from Somerset. Considering how many they had created, I think Somerset had 30 at one point.
I mean, you can see right there, it was 31 bales created by the Somerset side, 23 of them undelivered. And that is the big stat that they're going to want to try and improve on, making sure they're able to deliver all of those bales, because that is 23 points, or not 20, 23 bales worth of points that they left on the farm. So efficiency is the big thing of this game. Neither team really as efficient as they could be, but you can make an argument that Forest Lake was the more efficient side because they delivered a higher percentage of the bales that they made.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. They were efficient. They did have, well, not they were efficient, but they were more efficient. They had more bales, more percentage of bales delivered from their total. But again, if we look at the Forest Lake side, if they had managed to deliver like 4 or 5 of those undelivered bales, they could have won this one, even with significantly less bales created.
Absolutely. So hopefully when we get geared up and get ready to go for game number 2, as we will be getting into that quite shortly, Efficiency is what we're going to be looking out for. We saw about halfway through that first game, Forest Lakes, they finally got their system in place. I would say it was a little too late. We didn't see any loading vehicles taken by either side to really help transport the bales to the farm in and of itself. That's something that I would like to see as we move forward, as we will be throwing to a 5-minute break before we go into our next game. So both these teams have some chance to rediscuss, have some time to re-strategize, and we'll get back into the game shortly here live at the EKKA.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Game number 1 is in the books, and Somerset College now has that lead over Forest Lakes. The question is, will they be able to do it again? My name is Max. Joining me is Callum as we get ready for our second game in this best of 3. And even though Somerset may have gotten that first game, I'm still not convinced that Forest Lakes can't bring it back.
Yeah, I think both teams showed that they do know how to get these bales very well, but I think the part that both sides were disappointed by, or would be disappointed by, was getting those bales into the barn to score points. Both sides left a lot of points out on the field, and I think whichever team can do better at that end of the game will take this one.
I have to agree with you. It should be worth noting, though, and I think this is something very important to highlight. A lot of these students haven't really played this game before. They may have just started playing it, a week or two ago. So it's still very new to a lot of them. They're still trying to come to grasp. And that's just one of the fun challenges I feel like that you have to overcome in this event in and of itself. You're not just trying to learn how, to maximize the amount of points you're able to score, but you're also trying to learn how to play the game in and of itself on a stage in front of an audience. It's a very unique sort of set of circumstance.
Yeah, and I mean, even for us, I've personally never commentated over Farming Simulator before, and I don't think there are many specialist Farming Simulator casters in the world, so I think everyone's learning a bit here.
You're already coming up with excuses before we even get into the game, my friend. That is, come on, better than that. You don't need excuses. When you mess up, you messed up on purpose. Either way, let's get into this one right now as we're going to take a look and see. Hopefully both sides get a baler this time. Last time only Somerset opted for a baler, and I did think that helped out as Forest Lakes opted not to get one. This time they have gone ahead, picked up the baler for themselves, and that's going to help them sort of keep up with straight up the amount of hay bales that was able to be created by the Somerset side.
Yeah, but again, as much as both sides were able to make a lot of hay bales, they really need to be able to convert those into points to take this game too, because there's no point having 100 hay bales out on the field if you've only got 2 of them in. If the other team's got 20 hay bales and got all 20 of them on that conveyor belt, they win that comfortably.
As we're going to just see right now, the sort of perks and vehicles each side is opting for. Once again, Archimedes is going to be one of the first ones taken out. Now, the Archimedes is a good one to grab because it allows your trailers that you have to unload 50% faster. And hopefully this time we actually see them use trailers as well, because the Archimedes perk was picked up by Forest Lake last time, but then they never used a trailer.
Yeah, and we see that under pressure as well. Both teams have taken both under pressure and Archimedes twice. Now, under pressure means that the baler's straw intake amount is increased by a multiplier of 1.1, which with both sides taking it, it would be a disadvantage to not have it. So I can understand why both teams would take it to increase that multiplier.
Also, I'm actually surprised only one side is opting for easy stack. I know when you look at more competitive Farming Simulator, you never really go for easy stack because everyone's throwing it on the conveyor belt. But when you're dealing with, newer players to the game, I feel like that's just an easy way to get secure points for your side. But at the end of the day, it only looked like one side opted for it. Of course, that being the peanut butter woman on the side of Forest Lakes, as we have hit ourselves onto the field once again. And let's see how these guys go at the start.
Yeah, and I do think the start can be quite crucial as we see the map coming out. For those that don't know, we can see the barns on opposite sides of the field to the village, which has the silo. And both teams, the spawn pods of the vehicles, I'm pretty sure the first team to get there means the other team can't take the same vehicle, which can be quite important.
Exactly, and that's where that runner perk I was expecting to come into play on the Forest Lakes side, as we can see both the harvesters already on each field. We see the Forest Lakes one in person, but on the other side, that is Wendy kind of racing against useless snow right now as they are making their way, and hopefully soon the balers will be right behind to start making those hay bales. You can see one kind of being set up already for the side of Somerset, I believe being driven by Remonster, and that's going to start getting those baling going, but where's Forest Lakes baler?
Yeah, I think there might have been a bit of a miscommunication there, as the peanut butter woman only just now getting to their baler. Maybe they lost out to the Somerset side and had to go across the field to get their baler. Actually driving away from it now. There's no baler on this Forest Lakes side yet. They really need one of those as soon as possible to not get behind, although it does look like they have 4 bales down the bottom left, so maybe off camera they've got one somewhere that we just, yeah, there it is.
Yep, there it is. It's all the way down there, but that is a long road to drive, and when you compare that, meanwhile, you can see, just looking at this situation, 6 bales already to 4 in favor of the Somerset side, and you can take a look at Duck right now just heading towards that barn, looking to use their baler to try and get that first point in. Eventually the hay bale is going to have to come off of the baler, and then they will try to load it onto the conveyor belt. You would have to think that's the only reason why you would bring the baler here. Both balers brought here by the Somerset side, and it's interesting that they're doing this without a trailer to like really load the hay bales and get themselves going, but you know what? It didn't require a lot of points to win last time. It might not require a lot of points to win this one. Not even bothering with the conveyor belt ducks, just trying to force those hay bales in. Got a little bit stuck at the door. Remonster was coming in with a lot of speed, but didn't look like they were going to smash it through just yet. And there comes the point, 79 in favor, as Duck and Remonster each do a little bunny hop, it looks like, in celebration.
Yeah, it looks like Duck might be stuck on that conveyor belt, though. He has been reversing and then going forward again for quite some time.
He's off. He's good.
No, he's gone. He's fine now. As, yeah, Forest Lake, they do have 7 bales up now. That's more than they got in the barn last time, game 1. So I think they might need to devote one player maybe to getting those bales over to the barn, trying to score some early points, getting a combo up maybe, and put the pressure back on Somerset.
Here we go. Meanwhile, for the Forest Lake side, though, they're just getting up a nice little, get some grain going for the silos to hopefully increase their own multiplier. At the same token as well, Forest Lakes, I do believe, are getting some points in for themselves, although they've already gotten the points and made their way back onto the field. It would have been Peanut Butter Woman who went ahead and collected them in the past, but one thing you need to be careful of, again, is making sure you have enough hay bales at the end that you'll be able to collect. As Duck going right on back to said fields as well, probably going to be trying to grab a couple hay bales to return them. Wendy, meanwhile, I believe, is heading towards the city. Yeah, but on foot running towards the city to collect the perks, and that's direct delivery that was just grabbed.
Yeah, and that could be a bit of a difference maker. 21 seconds left of 1.5 times multiplier on, I think, the grain going into the silo. But it doesn't look like Somerset are actually putting that grain into the silo, unless I'm mistaken, and that's not what the perk does. Maybe not an effective use of that.
Yeah, I don't think it was the most effective use, but it also can be perk denial. If you're not really aware of where your opponents are, sometimes it is good to grab it so it doesn't get used against you. Peanut Butter Woman looking to kind of increase the lead right now, or at least start to bridge the gap. I believe if this goes in, actually, just looking at the score line, yeah, that would be a equalizing sort of play for Forest Lakes, since Peanut Butter Woman just needs to make sure it's lined up correctly. They've got it nice and straight. Unfortunately, you can't really get out to just put it in, and you kind of need to hurry as well, because Duck has also returned to the Somerset farm, and they could be looking to start unloading some hay bales themselves.
Yeah, and if we look at the Somerset side again, they've got 4 bales by their farm, but Duck is the only one there to put it in. So that would probably take a good couple minutes if he were to try get all 4 of those up on the conveyor belt. As we see, I think the Somerset up the top, the multiplier is increasing. They are, yeah, there they are. There goes Wendy putting that grain into the silo. That could be huge, because they do have 4 bales ready to go in, times 2.3 now, and still going up. That could be massive for them.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this, though, is because we did see Forest Lake trying to set this up before. However, they kind of abandoned that plan, I feel like, and That's now just been capitalized on by Somerset. And if we go back towards the Somerset barn in and of itself, Duck is right there, already stacking those hay bales, getting ready to try to load them up 2 at a time onto that conveyor belt with that 2.4 multiplier. This is a chance for Somerset, if they play it correctly, to really drastically increase their lead.
Yeah, and if Duck can get those 2 stacked up onto the conveyor belt with a times 2.4 plus the starter combo, that would be very big for Somerset College as they look to do just that, trying to line it up. Will it be nice for them? I think he's got it lined up on his tractor well. That looks alright if he lets it down now.
Just got to be gentle in how you unload it, and it looks good. Hay bales stay on top of each other. This is big points potentially going Somerset's way. On the other side, you can see how Peanut Butter Woman has actually started to line it up as well for Forest Lakes, but they need to start actually getting those points in sooner than later as we watch the hay bales make their way 24 apiece. That's 48 in total, and now a rather large lead for the Somerset side.
Yeah, and Somerset, again, they still have 3 bales by their barn. They have taken our advice, and look, Forest Lake, they have 18 bales out on the field. There's no way they'll be able to get all 18 into the barn on the conveyor belt. They really need to stop harvesting, stop baling up, and just get these bales into the barn as best they can to try and make this game competitive.
I mean, well, one of the things that they are still looking to do, though, is increase their multiplier. As you can see right here, loading up that grain, that trailer will be going straight into the town to just start filling up those silos to get the multiplier greater for them. They have some hay bales in their farm area as well, only 2, which won't be enough. They need to get more in there. I'm worried that time might already be too little too late. I know we're only halfway in this game here, Callum, but unless they really start moving and getting those hay bales in position for a late point flurry, it's just not going to go their way.
Yeah, and if we look up the top, I think Forest Lake just activated a perk that disables all 3 bridges for Somerset, and they have no players by the barn. So those 3 bales that are by the barn have no one there to put them in. That could be a big play from Forest Lake as the Peanut Butter Woman, I think that is Ghosted, lines up another 2 bales to go up the conveyor belt. If they can get that grain into the silo, get a big multiplier going, and then get those 4 bales up, could be big.
I mean, raising the bridges might slow down Somerset, but I think that wasn't utilized at the right time. I mean, we saw Duck quickly able to drive around.
Yeah, and there's another 2 bales on the Somerset side. Now 5 there with 6.5 minutes to play. I think, again, they've got 11 bales on the field. They'll only need 2 or 3 of those, plus the 5 there to make that an easy lead for them and to take this game too.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit dire for Forest Lakes. They need to start moving now. 4 bales in the general barn area. You need to get more. You can see Danny Boy currently with that big old trailer of grain just on their way to increase the multiplier. Useless Snow as well, bringing a couple more hay bales in towards the barn. And it does feel like Forest Lake, they're going to be setting themselves up for that late flurry of points. However, you can say the same thing about Duck right now. While the multiplier is still in Somerset's favor, I'd like to see them actually start trying to get these points now before we see that multiplier turn around and just put essentially Forest Lakes out of reach of a comeback.
Yeah, and it does look like Somerset, I think they might be going for the silo again here to try increase that multiplier. But yeah, both teams actually now over the silo. So I think these might neutralize each other out, leaving the multiplier at, well, maybe still in favor of Somerset.
I mean, when he's got to start dropping it now, they do, and you would expect this is where things would equalize. But look at the speed difference. Again, this comes down to some of the perks, I believe, that's being used. Danny Boy just unloading so much more of that grain so much faster. So the multiplier is still going to go in favor of this team in a blue. However, they then have to convert that into points. So as that is happening, you can see Somerset, they still have several hay bales that they're going to be able to put it in and add to their lead. Useless Snow, though, now that the multiplier is in their favor, would like these hay bales in sooner, but more grain was collected by the Somerset side. Eventually, they each run out, so it's only a small multiplier advantage in favor of Forest Lakes.
As these 3 hay bales go up, they do look a bit skewed to the right, but the Peanut Butter Woman there to put another 2 on. If these 5 all make it up top, that could make this game very competitive, as they do. 21 points apiece, that's 63 points to take Forest Lake to 117, with another 2 bales potentially to come. Another 4 actually there. They could be making a second half charge here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still Somerset, I feel like, in a stronger position at this stage. Even though Forest Lake is starting to get these bales through, they just don't, unfortunately, have enough hay bales in the area to sort of keep up. The one thing, though, that could go in their favor, Somerset's not really prepared to put those ones in right now. Duck is having to run around with going for, well, actually in that situation, just going ahead to collect up a perk. You can see Remonster on their way back. Wendy should be making their way back as well, just to really ensure that those points are going to be collected at this stage. 201 currently in favor because of the perk that was grabbed. Forest Lakes, yeah, you have, 4 hay bales, soon to be 3 as this one goes in, going through, but that's not going to be enough to bridge this gap, or is it? That's a big chunk of points that just went through. You get these 3 hay bales in, it could be enough, but if Somerset just gets even one of these 4, they're going to be good. Duck, just, no! Yes! Is there? Yeah, they're through. That was close.
Yeah, that bridge could have struck the Somerset College team as it did Forest Lake in the first half, but I'm wondering, where are the other 2 Forest Lake teammates? It seems like it's just Peanut Butter Woman putting these bales into the barn, as Danny Boy still bailing up here. I think he needs to just take these 2, get it to the barn, and just focus on that. There's 3 minutes to go. You're not going to be able to get all those 15 bales in. They might struggle to get another 4 or 5 in, so time is really of the essence here, as Forest Lake are still 21 points behind.
Yeah, Forest Lake, I mean, again, they're thinking they've got a couple bales in there. That should be enough to sort of bridge the gap at the moment. But as we hit our final 2.5 minutes, look at the amount of hay bales that Somerset has in the area ready to go. And if I were both Remonster as well as Duck, I would just start putting it in, because you only need to get 3 or 4 of these on that conveyor belt right now to put this game out of reach.
Yeah, but it is a tie game right now, 201 points each. This is the close game I was talking about in game 1. 2 minutes to go. As much as Somerset do have bales next to the barn, they only have 1 player getting these bales there, as Peanut Butter Woman looks to put another 1 up on the conveyor belt. If that gets there before the 2 from Somerset, Forest Lake will take the lead for the first time in the series, with Useless Snow having another 2 bales on the way.
Yeah, that actually is critical. I am not sure why Somerset has sort of sent their second player off. They need to start getting these bales in. They have enough resources to win this game, but not if it's Duck doing it alone, especially with Useless Snow coming to add a few more points. Now, Somerset may have retained that lead, but Useless Snow is in position to take it right back. And if you are Somerset, you could be letting this one slip out of reach. You can see Remonster on their way, but so too is Danny Boy with a couple more bales about to come out of that bale, or Forest Lake might be able to steal this one, but those bales are not straight. The first one might go in. I'm worried about the second. You only need 1 for the lead. The second does fall. Might not matter. It's a 4-point advantage currently for Forest Lake.
Yeah, and if I'm Somerset right now, they've got so many bales, I don't think putting them all on the conveyor belt is the play. If they can get those 3 that aren't on the track, aren't being lifted by Duck right now into the bottom, as Remonster does that.
Yeah, boom, there's the lead right there. Now all what Duck has to do is get those 2 on the conveyor belt, and that should be enough, you would have to think, to get the win. That said, Peanut Butter Woman, though, it's going to be trying to match the conveyor belt game. Danny Boy as well running. You can't lift them. I know you want to grab the hay bales and just throw it in manually, but you got to get back in that vehicle. Remonster as well is probably just going to start stabbing these hay bales and just driving them straight into the barn. 2 more on the conveyor belt go in for the side of Somerset. They retake that lead with 30 seconds to go. Remonster's going to put in another into the barn, 97-64. Useless Snow desperate to get it on the conveyor belt. Peanut Butter Woman waiting in line, but time is not going to work for the side of Forest Lakes.
Yeah, I think this will be very tight. The Somerset
wait
team,
a minute.
Another bale going up. If that falls off, it might be close, as Peanut Butter Woman gets one in the bottom, but Somerset matches. That one goes down. It's a 2-point game. It's a 2-point game, but there's no more bales by the barn for Forest Lake. They're going to watch this timer go out. 2 points short. That is absolutely tragic for them, as Somerset take this series 2-0.
Somerset, for the second game in a row, were great at collecting their resources. Not the best at cashing it in, but this time they did just enough. I would still make the argument that Forest Lake was perhaps the more efficient team, but they weren't as efficient at gathering the resources in and of itself. So it's two different teams, two different play styles, but in the end, one hay bale difference. You can see 14 collected by Forest Lake, 15 collected by Somerset, a 2-point difference in the end. Well done to the red side, well done to Somerset.
Yeah, but I think, again, those 12 undelivered bales, they're going to be a thorn in Forest Lake's side. They're going to be a bit upset by that. If they don't make 6 of those bales and focus on getting the other 6 bales in, they would have won that game. They would have got 20 total bales, I think, there. It just shows that they're really overestimating how many bales they can afford to make and get in the barn at the same time.
Well, that's just it, though, because, again, I still want to see the use of trailers come back into play, right? Like, that's still something that has been kind of lacking for both of these teams in this one, and that could really change the sort of flow of these games. So we will see what happens, how these teams continue to play this game, learn, and improve as the afternoon goes on. Now, we still haven't seen our third school, Earnshaw. They're going to be up next after a bit of a break, so do stay with us here at the EKKA. We'll have more Farming Simulator for you when we return.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Match number 1 is in the books here at the EKKA. Somerset takes out Forest Lakes 2-0 in a very exciting game number 2. However, it's now time for game number 3 with team number 3 as we get ready to welcome Earnshaw to this event. They're going to be going up against Somerset. Once more, Somerset trying to go undefeated through our group stages. I'm joined here by Callum right now. Do you think Somerset's going to keep this momentum going?
Yeah, I mean, Somerset did look quite good, and they have more experience than Earnshaw. Earnshaw, this is their first time on stage. Obviously, I highly doubt they would have ever played Farming Sim, especially not on a LAN before, so they'll take some adjusting, getting used to the controls. So I think Somerset have a bit of an advantage there as we see the bands come out, the John Deere and the Stayer.
Well, one thing that I would say that Earnshaw would have been able to kind of pick up on is they could watch, they can learn, they can listen, whereas Somerset maybe perhaps was a bit too focused. So in that regards, I feel like Earnshaw maybe gets an advantage in that sense. We'll see how it does come into play. I do have to agree with you, though, Callum. I do believe Somerset on the orange side. They're probably going to be the favorites in this matchup. Now, again, it is a single round robin, so every school will be playing against each other, and then at the end of the afternoon, we will have our grand final. If Somerset wins this series, they will punch their ticket to said grand final.
Yeah, and that would obviously relieve a lot of pressure from them. They would not want to have to watch the next series to determine their place in the final. As we see Earnshaw coming out with a different perk, I think, there. Both sides last game picked Bottleneck for both games, but Unstoppable taken. Unstoppable means that the bale transport belt is 50% faster and will never stop, while also slowing down the opposing belt by 50%, which could be a massive advantage, as we saw at the end there. If of last game, game 2, had one team's bale been 50% faster than the others, we could have seen a different game.
Yeah, and I'm actually a little bit surprised on that one. Like, I thought more teams would be taking Unstoppable. That said, Bottleneck is going to be taken back. So, unfortunately for Earnshaw, they're only going to have one bridge available for them. And now we get to see what Somerset can do if they have 3 bridges available for them. That could help increase that sort of later efficiency as we are going through our vehicle selection right now. Runner taken under pressure. Head start, though, taken for the first time, and that means essentially, you know, your tractors and harvesters, they just start up instantly, so it's a little bit more acceleration. It's not really, I feel, often the strongest player perk, but both sides going for runner as well. Archimedes once again going to be taken by the Somerset side, whereas under pressure is going to be taken as well for our team in blue. 8 points left available. Now, as you go through these pick and bans, you do have allocated points, so you can't build something like incredibly broken. That said, Earnshaw, they left 8 points on the field, so not really utilizing, you know, as strong as a team composition as you can.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm surprised they didn't take the easy stack perk for Game 1. Being new players, obviously, it would be a massive advantage to them to have an easier option to get those bales in. As we see, I don't think the blue side used their head start as effectively as they could. Army Seal, I didn't see him, or them, sorry, streaking ahead as
well, it's when they get in the vehicle.
Yeah, true.
So, like, the head start doesn't mean you get, like, a 5-second head start in that sense. It's just you get in the vehicle and you can instantly start driving it.
Right.
Yeah. So we are watching it now. We're seeing, see, look, that's where we see the head start perk into play. But speed on the favor in this case of a Remonster who already has the baler. They're ready to go. But you need your harvester before you can start bailing, and you can see, well, there's the harvester coming from Earnshaw. Krusty Socks ready to go. Meanwhile, it will be Wendy kind of taking the harvester for the Somerset side, each of them getting straight in it to the fields, and Remonster will be getting in position with the baler, you'd have to think. Ooh, a little bit of a vehicle swap, perhaps.
Yeah, and it seems like Somerset have their game plan down pat. I noticed it was Wendy that was doing a lot of the harvesting in the last game.
Double harvester start.
Double harvester. Maybe they're going to spend the first couple of minutes harvesting this middle period of the game, bailing up, and then spending the entire of their last focus on getting those bales into the barn, which could be an interesting strat. I'm not sure whether or not it will work out for them, as I like to say, don't fix what isn't broken, and they won last series with their old strats, so it'll be interesting to see what's made them change and whether it'll pay off for them.
As we are seeing on the other side, Okus has gotten sort of the harvesting going as well for the Earnshaw team, and it looks like they actually might be running double harvester as well, so a small little change, I suppose, in the meta in that regards, as I do want to check over what's happening over here in the town right now, because I believe there was some shenanigans happening for Somerset. I could be mistaken, though. Where's that third Somerset member? Well, you got another harvester down here, and I believe what Somerset is actually going for here, Callum, is that they're sending their second harvester down to this side of the farm to use it to collect the grain for the silos to increase their multiplier. So they're using one harvester for bales for points, the other one for the multiplier, and they're going to be hoping to try to capitalize on both of those at the same time.
Yeah, and that could be a good play from them. It would obviously reduce a lot of time between the silos and back compared to last game, which would give them a significant advantage in the multiplier. As we see Duck already dropping 2 bales off by the barn. I'm curious whether or not they'll leave them there. No, it looks like they are going for the point straight away to get an early lead, which, again,
I mean, you get the point boost, right, for that first hay bale, and they're not even going to bother with the conveyor belt. Just throw it in the barn. 63 points for Somerset.
Exactly, and that could be quite a difference. I mean, last game, the game was decided by 2 points. In hindsight, actually looking, had Forest Lake got their bale in first, they might have taken that game.
Yeah, as we see right here. Interesting that you're creating hay bales away on your silo side of the map. You have to remember, the farm is all the way down there. Your hay bales are over here, and you have lines for baling right next to said farm. So, again, sort of a unique strategy, I want to say, for Earnshaw right now. We'll be curious to see how it goes. Meanwhile, on the other side, you can see that Remonster has those hay lines as well. They just need to get, I guess, collected for the grain that they can then put into their silo. Neither team really has made a move on the silo just yet, as we are watching Duck still continuing to try to get some hay bales onto that conveyor belt to help increase the Somerset lead. Yeah,
and it looks like Duck is getting a lot better at lining up those hay bales with the conveyor belt as these games progress. Look at that. That is as straight down the middle as it gets. There's almost zero chance of that falling, I'd think. Oh, I've probably just jinxed it.
Nah, that looks good to me. I think we'll be fine as we just take a little look right now, as kind of having a little run through the fields right there. Krusty, not crunchy, Krusty. Although I suppose things that are crusty are usually crunchy as well. Just kind of running along looking for a vehicle to get in, as Okus has gone ahead and collected that baler and is now going to be starting to, I believe, create some hay bales a little bit closer to their barn, and hopefully for this Earnshaw side, that will equate to points sooner than later, because yes, it's still in the early stages of this game, but it's already an 83-point lead in favor of Somerset.
Yeah, and I think there might have been a bit of a miscommunication there between Okus and Krusty Socks, both looking at the same vehicle as Okus is driving over, but not. There he goes, trying to get the bales.
Yeah, now that straight line is there. Meanwhile, you can also see Remonster kind of collecting, some hay for their own bales as well. So each side will be able to get those hay bales going. As it looks like Okus is, just cruising along, collecting what they can. The same thing being done at the moment, actually, by Army Seal as well. So both members of the Earnshaw side collecting those hay bales. Eventually, though, they're going to have to move them as,
Yeah, and I think... yep, there it is. Duck is in the river. That has happened to me before. It is quite frustrating. I don't know whether or not you can even get it out. Yeah, there looks to be a...
They've drawn some...
Yeah, you can. You can
get
it back out. So he wasn't stuck, but that could cost some time.
I think that would cost a lot of money, if you had to sort of pay for the water damages in that situation. Now Army Seal getting stuck on the bridge as well. And here comes the lifting, and that is an awkward position for Army Seal into the drink. Hang on, Army, hang on. I know Seals can swim, but it looks like they've got themselves in an interesting triangle. They should be okay as we wait for the bridge to drop. They also might just get sort of like pinched into the river itself. Army Seal doing a little jump out on top right now, just sort of taking in the view from this elevated position.
Yeah, and I do think I recognize Army Seal's name from the competition 2 years ago. I remember our team actually versed Earnshaw. So I think Army Seal will maybe be a leader for this Earnshaw team. They have experience in this competition as they do get unstuck and will transport these bales over to the barn.
Yeah, that will be good for this team in blue. Meanwhile, Remonster just continuing to bring hay bales in one at a time this time around as they'll drop it through before. Are they going to line themselves out and go for it, or are they going to kind of go for a different approach? It looks like, yeah, they're going to go for the points right now. I mean, why not? Multiplier currently in the favor of SSC Somerset. They were able to increase their multiplier back at the silo while we were busy watching Army Seal nearly bin their vehicle into the river.
Yeah, and they do have that 2 out of 10 combo, Somerset, so that will be more points for them if Remonster does succeed in getting this bale up the conveyor belt. And again, that looks very, very nice.
That's clean.
Nice and straight. There is, I don't want to say it, but I don't think there's a chance of that falling.
No, that's clean. That's going in. As I just want to take a quick look and make sure no one's really collecting in the silos at all. Wendy still creating a lot of grain right there, and I feel like, as soon as you pass that halfway point, that's when you should be looking to really double down on creating the hay bales and getting them to the farm. You don't really need any more grain. I mean, look how much there is currently.
Yeah, I do think that they need to get a baler on that ASAP and make as many bales as they can. But as we look at the conveyor belt, here is where that perk from Earnshaw comes in. Look how agonizingly slow that Somerset bale is getting up there. Yeah. But Earnshaw need to take advantage of this. They have a faster conveyor belt, and they've got no bales anywhere near it.
This is painfully slow right now. And, I mean, you can see right here, Okus is looking to line up, another hay bale for the side of Earnshaw, and that will finally get them on the board. But yeah, that is just it's moving right along.
It's getting there. It's getting there eventually. But if this game does get as close as that last game was, Game 2 versus Forest Lake and Somerset, that speed could be the difference. Look at how slow it is. That bale has been on the belt for almost a minute.
But it does make it all the way in, and that's, another big chunk of points, and there's going to be even more on the way. Again, we'll wait a minute for that to get there. Meanwhile, for Earnshaw, I mean, you can see a baler has been left. Okus is still trying to line up their first points. As a whole, though, this Earnshaw side hasn't really put anything in. It looks as if Army Seal is going to make their way again with another baler full of a couple hay bales, so they'll continue to just try and stack for that late flurry of points. Crunchy Socks, though, still creating rain, and that's not really what Earnshaw should be doing at this stage. We're kind of in the late game now. It's time to start getting those bales in. It's time to start scoring those points. You've obviously opted not to go for the multiplier, so you're going to need to get a lot of hay bales in.
Yeah, and if we look at the orange side, they stand out because they're ghosted, but look how many bales they have across the field. If we look on the left as Wendy does a wheelie, there's 7 bales on the field there, and again, none of them are near the barn. There's so many points left there, and especially with this conveyor belt being so slow, as much as Duck has managed to get 2 on the belt, it's been over a minute since that first one got there, and it's still only 3/4 of the way up.
It is so slow at this stage for Somerset to get those points in, but they have the lead, and the question will become, can Earnshaw do enough late to kind of catch this massive advantage that has been gathered for the Somerset side? Again, Somerset, even with that 2.4 multiplier, I mean, it's almost worth it at this stage to just get all those hay bales, I feel like, and put them through on the downstairs part of the barn. Yes, there are less points individually, but you'll be able to get more points per minute because this is... I mean, I was timing it. That is a 2-minute trip up the conveyor belt. So they need to get the hay bales on essentially now if they want to use that conveyor belt. Otherwise, you got to start putting them through underneath. Meanwhile, for Earnshaw, there's a lot of hay bales around the barn in and of itself. But if they don't start putting it in, eventually that point differential is going to be too much considering the time remaining.
Yeah, Crusty Socks, you can't pick up the hay bales as much as you might want to try. I think Earnshaw, they really just need to do what they can with what they've got here. They can't afford, they don't have the time to go back and grab more. They've got, 4 bales down near the barn. They need to get those in as soon as they can and then worry about other bales, because this 161-point lead for Somerset, that might be all they need at this point.
That very well could be the case. That said, Somerset, they are racing back. I see a baler coming through. Wendy looks to have a baler as well. A remonster is probably just going to come down and start loading hay bales as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, for Earnshaw, only Army Seal in the barn area with just 3 minutes remaining. It looks as if Okus may have gotten stuck.
Yeah, and if we look down the bottom left, Somerset have got this combo up to 6 now. Earnshaw obviously yet to score a point as Okus tries to navigate this baler out of the bridge.
Yeah, but I think Okus is stuck.
Yeah, that looks very stuck to me.
That doesn't look that stuck. How did Okus manage this?
Yeah, that's honestly impressive. Getting that stuck in that way, as we see.
They are bottlenecked as well.
Yeah, so
they only have this bridge, which is currently lifted.
Blocked, yeah. So as we look, that's another 2 on the orange conveyor. If they get up before Earnshaw score a point, that's an 8 combo. That's going to be 240 points for them, and that is, I mean, it's probably game over now. 185 points in 2 minutes. It would be absurd.
Well, that's not going to help things. Army Seal has somehow flipped the tractor, and they're trying to ride it. As we just take a look, how are we doing? Doing okay down there? Yeah, there we go. We ride it just like they do IRL. As we take a look at Duck as well, cool, calm, and collected. Duck? No, he's still there. Don't worry about it. They're just getting to work as loading up some more conveyors of that hay. I don't know if that last one is going to make it up in time, but I'm kind of with you what you said before, Callum. I'm not sure it's going to matter.
Yeah, I don't think it'll matter at this point. It would just make the lead more convincing, as it looks like Okus may be about to score Earnshaw's first points.
Well, you were not going to score points with it on the baler in and of itself.
Yeah, need to let that off. They've got so many bales around the barn, but that's just been flung in. The first points come for Earnshaw. 40 points. Obviously, it's not going to matter, but I'm sure that'll help their confidence a little bit for Game 2.
Yeah, perhaps, as not really sure where the rest of Somerset has gone. Maybe they're confident enough in that lead. Here comes Remonster with just another hay bale. Not enough time to put it on the conveyor belt with how slow it's moving. You can just go ahead and drive that one underneath. I want to see how fast Remonster goes for it. Just zooming in, but kind of missed.
Yep.
Fortunately, these barns are built out of whatever that material is from, like Wakanda. I forget what they called it, but essentially it's unbreakable material. So you can drive into these barns as fast as possible and never damage them.
Yeah, obviously very good architecture coming out from the developers of the game.
That's a lot of hay bales just being stacked together. Army Sailed are going to force another 2 in, 60-243, 15 seconds to go. Game number 1. It's going to go in favor of Somerset, the 3rd game in a row they've won. Again for this match, though, it's a best of 3, but they're already 1 game away from securing themselves a spot in the grand final.
Yeah, 217-point win for Somerset there. That is convincing. They looked very, very good, very coordinated that game. Although, as we see the stats, not sure they're up on the screen yet, but they had 9 undelivered bales still. There's still a little bit of efficiency that they could be improving on here.
Yeah, again, we haven't really seen any loaders just yet, and that's still the sort of equipment that I'm wanting to see kind of put into play. Maybe that will come into play later in the day, but for the most part, maybe not that big 307 that they scored before, but 277 still more than enough to win out in this opening game. Only 60 for Earnshaw. Granted, this was their first attempt. We'll hopefully see Earnshaw have a little bit stronger on that second time around.
Yeah, as we see, Earnshaw, they got 3 bales in, only on the low section. I do think I noticed them struggling to line it up on the top conveyor belt. I think that might be something that they really need to try fix in this second game, or get as many bales as they can in the bottom.
Yeah, well, we will be gearing up for game number 2 in just a few moments. So we will be going to a quick break before we get into our second game in this matchup. Again, Somerset, they're on match point, a chance to secure themselves a spot in that grand final. So do stay with us. More Farming Simulator here in just a few moments.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Undefeated so far. Somerset is on an absolute hot streak. However, Earnshaw's going to have another chance to kind of break that apart. It is match point, grand final point for Somerset if they're able to put this next game away. Earnshaw still looking for their first win as we head right back into our pick and ban phase. I am Max, joined by Callum. What do we need to see from Earnshaw to get themselves back in this?
Yeah, I noticed last game they really struggled with getting their bales into the barn. They had more than enough bales across the map to potentially challenge Somerset, but only scoring 60 points. They didn't get a single bale up the top conveyor belt, which obviously they'll need to do that in game 2 as we enter the banning phase.
Yeah, we'll kind of just speed right through this banning phase. Unlike, the speed of the vehicles that are probably going to be taken away. I'm watching the Massey Ferguson kind of removed from play as we continue with this. For me, I still want to see, some more collection done. I'm kind of with you. I think all 3 of our schools that we've seen competing haven't been the best at sort of, getting those bales to the barn area in and of itself in an efficient manner. They're really good at creating grain. Like, the grain has been on top of it. Everyone's super good with the harvesters. Like, that part's been fine. The creation of the hay bales and the use of the balers has been fine, but it's just been the transport of the bales to the barns where some of these schools have been lacking. We'll see how that will break apart as we head into our pick phase, and this is where things get critical. Where are we going to go from here? Bottleneck going to be selected on the orange side of Somerset. So again, just sort of holding their opponents to only 1, and no perk and no harvester. Sorry, not no harvester, no baler selected for the side of Earnshaw.
Yeah, they've really missed out there. Weren't quick enough to get in. Obviously, Somerset, they have their plans set. They've picked the same 3 every time. And I also think, by the looks of it, they're going to be picking the same player perks as they have every other game.
It's a strategy, and
yeah.
You were the one who said it at the start of the last game. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, that's kind of been a nice memento for Somerset to keep rolling with. Easy Stack is going to get selected this time around for Earnshaw. That was something that we wanted to see taken in game number 1. I do think this will help them get those points through. Under pressure, of course, selected by both sides this time as we wait for those last selections to go in. I'm a little bit nervous. It's going to be Archimedes and no perk. Okay, there we go. Runner going to be selected by Nathaniel B.
Yes, see, again, Somerset, they've picked the exact same perks and I think the same vehicles every round. I mean, it's working for them. So I don't see any reason why they would possibly change that. As we see, again, 7 points still left in the bank from Earnshaw.
Well, I mean, those 7 points should have gone to
the
the second Baylor and to the perk. Unfortunately, that was kind of missed out on. So Earnshaw not doing themselves favor in the pick and ban phase, but maybe they'll do themselves the favors on the field itself. We are underway. Tractors is driving on out, and let's see if Somerset can secure that grand final spot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see again because we saw that the bottleneck was effective for Somerset when I think it was Army Seal that got stuck. Well, I think all three of the Earnshaw players actually did get stuck at one point or another during the last round. So it'll be interesting to see how they work around that this time as Cheese Lover gets out of their vehicle, their harvester that was on the way to the field.
Yeah, they're getting the other harvester. They're switching it up, so it's not as if they're abandoning the harvester in this situation. Meanwhile, for Somerset, well, Wendy already exactly where they want to be. Remonster as well, right with them. So it's the double harvester strat for the second time in a row for the Somerset side. You have Duck making their way over with the Baylor. So Somerset, they're lining themselves up. It's the same exact approach that we saw last time. The only difference is Wendy a little bit faster in getting onto that field.
Yeah, and Somerset, they've clearly got their game plan. Their Baylor Duck goes around the right-hand side where there's already some grain pre-prepared to bail up. Then he makes the dart towards the barn to get those bonus points for getting that first bail-in. And it's worked every time. They've got the first bail-in every game they've played so far. As we see, look, all three bridges on their side are down because the Earnshaw side didn't pick a perk. And if they did, they didn't pick bottleneck anyway last game.
Yeah, exactly. I love that Duck has a look at the first bridge, doesn't like the alignment, is like, you know what, I'm going to try again on bridge number 2, and this time maybe with a longer windup as we see them turn around. Look, these bridges can be treacherous. We've seen a couple tractors already wind up in the drink. This time, though, Duck straight on through, and there you go. The two bales already in that baler, about to head their way into the barn, and Duck once again is going to be looking to strike first points.
Yeah, not going to make the same mistake again, getting stuck. As I think it was Duck that ended up in the river last game, or stuck at some point, really does not want to make that same mistake, as it looks like with those two bales that Duck was carrying, Somerset will score first, as all three of the Earnshaw players are nowhere near.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, Earnshaw has only just now started to get the grain going. You can see Cheese Lover down at the far end of the farm starting to get the grain going. Army Seal as well, a bit closer to where the camera is located. And is that a third harvester? Are we going triple harvester right now for the Earnshaw side? Nathaniel B is getting in, and yeah, it's going to be a triple harvester strat.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I thought they got more than enough. I thought they had more than enough bales last game, but just struggled to put them in as Duck gets that first bale up there. 67 points, and we can see the difference in speed when Earnshaw don't have that perk activated that slows down the Somerset conveyor. That's going up a lot quicker, which could mean that Somerset extend their lead by even more this game.
Yeah, we'll see if that does come into play as we watch the second hay bale make its way up into the barn, and that shouldn't take too long before that one does come through. Only one player on Earnshaw currently in a vehicle right now, actually, and that is a little bit spooky to me. As we can see, Nathaniel B and Army Seal fighting over who gets to drive the harvester. You guys have three. There's a third harvester just down the road if you really all want to be doing that. But at this stage for Earnshaw, someone has to get on the hay bales, right? Like, someone has to get that baler going. Someone has to get in the tractor to start moving the bales across. Earnshaw is falling further and further behind, and we're only 4 minutes in.
Yeah, you would think that surely there'd be someone looking for a baler. No idea where Army Seal's going off in the distance. Maybe that's exactly what he's doing, actually, going off to that baler, it looks like, trying to get this grain. Look, they've got more than enough grain down in the bottom left. They're nearly up to 20,000. Cheese Lover has done enough. I don't see why they need a second harvester, at this point in the game.
Yeah, especially the two harvesters working that close to each other as well. It's just not the most efficient use, I suppose, of sort of using that farm. Meanwhile, take a look on the other side. You have Remonster just moving right along, collecting those bales. Nice straight line already set up for them. It's going to take them straight towards the barn. Duck is already there, by the way, just making sure even more of these hay bales do make their way through. You can see Duck lining up another one to take that right up the conveyor belt. As this is happening, Wendy has also taken their harvester to the silo to increase that multiplier. Somerset working like a unit right now, and they are starting to pull away in this game very quickly.
Yeah, and Somerset, they're looking a lot more sleek this game. They are being very efficient. All three players are working on different things at the same time, whereas we look in contrast at Earnshaw. Army Seal and Nathaniel B right on top of each other, and Cheese Lover starting to deposit some grain into the trailer to take it over to the silo, but Somerset already have that times 2.4 advantage and a few bales over with Duck. They could really let this get out of hand before it even gets to the halfway mark of this game.
Yeah, as you can see, that just, whoop. Now, that's not going to help. Missing a little bit, but I do believe the trailer is most likely full at this stage, so now Cheese Lover needs to get their tractor and just kind of drive that trailer over, and maybe they can start to fix the multiplier situation. However, oh no, into the drink, Army Seal.
Oh, and that's exactly what Earnshaw would want to avoid. That looks not ideal for him. Maybe those bales will come out or off the back of the baler as tries to make his way out of the drink.
Yeah, that was just not ideal for Army Seal, but they are out now, and instead of taking the bridge, just, well, take, I suppose, the safer route as they make their way across. And the first points could be available right now for the side of Earnshaw. However, as they're getting themselves set up, it should be worth noting that for our team in red at this stage, like, they are just an efficient machine at this stage.
Yeah, but as we look down the bottom left again, they've got 13 bales already inside 7 minutes of this game, and they haven't scored more than 15 bales throughout their entire time here. They've already scored 3. They've got 14 on the field somewhere. I feel like if they score all those, they'll beat their best score and take this game comfortably. Well,
Duck right now is dropping off a couple hay bales in their own farm, and we'll be curious to see if Duck tries to load them on. That's not going to be the case. Instead, Duck is just going to take that baler back out and continue to make those hay bales. Nearly at the halfway point, though, in game number 2 between Somerset and Earnshaw, as we are watching Army Seal just try and get some points in. They're going for the lower entry right now, but you need to lower a little bit more. There you go. 40 points for the first bale, and Earnshaw is on the board.
Yeah, Earnshaw on the board as we just go by the halfway mark here. Bit quicker than they were last time as Army Seal makes it 2, another 10 points, but I do think they need to utilize this conveyor belt a bit more. Obviously, they struggled lining it up last game, but they can't let that get to them because 61 points behind and 17 bales behind. They really need to maximize the points they get from the bales they do have.
So I did notice during that sort of period, Somerset went ahead and collected the crazy tool, and that again enables more efficiency for creating the bales for a brief period of 30 seconds. And during that period, they were able to make a couple more bales. So yeah, if we're looking at a hay bale in itself race, Somerset is way out in front. They're now starting to load them in. They're now starting to transport it, and this is a lot earlier than when they have been doing it in the past couple games we've seen, and they're not even bothering with the conveyor belt at this stage. They're just trying to get those bales in as fast as possible. Now, I'm not sure I agree with it at this stage of the game. I think you still can be using that conveyor belt. However, the fact that they are putting more priority in terms of just making sure they're able to utilize all those bales that they've been able to make before, I think is a positive side moving forward for the Somerset team. Yeah, and I think Earnshaw need to try stop this multiplier. They need to get some grain in the silo, but they only have 1 bale, so I don't know whether they can actually afford to do that or not. I mean, no one's near.
Yeah, if we look at the bottom left, look at the amount of grain that Somerset have and bales. All of that grain, I think, could afford to go in the silo and really boost that multiplier for them.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, we saw them loading the trailer before, but it doesn't look like Earnshaw is ever going to be putting that to use. Meanwhile, Somerset, time whittling away. They have several bales within the vicinity of the barn. They have even more out on the field, as you can see right here. Wendy now has gone and collected their tractor and is going to be helping just move those bales across. I feel like this is Somerset gearing up for a late flurry of points, and it's going to be too much for Earnshaw to keep up with.
Yeah, with 5 minutes to go and 17 bales still on the field, if Somerset can get 9 or 10 of them, that would get them to at least 300 points, and I think that would be too much for Earnshaw to catch up to at this stage, having only 2 bales on the field and 50 points.
Yeah, well, once again, it looks like Nathaniel B. and Army Seal are just kind of fighting over vehicles, which is not really what we want to be seeing, as Nathaniel's just going to try and run ahead, get themselves back in the tractor, and be like, all right, what's the game plan now? Army Seal actually wants that tractor. It is a vehicle swap.
They're just chilling together, just trading vehicles, want to see what it's like, driving each car, I guess.
I mean, that's all well and good, but you take a look at the hay bales being stacked and about to be scored for the Somerset side. If these two go in, that's going to be a big chunk of points and an even larger lead for the team in red.
Yeah, it looks like they will. That's 24 points apiece because of that multiplier. Gets them to 169 points, 119 in the lead. 4 minutes to go.
What?
As Army Seal nearly flips tractor again. That was a close call, but I'd like to be realistic here. 2 bales on the field. If they get both those bales in, that's still not going to get them anywhere close on the Earnshaw side. And Somerset, they've looked... I would say this has been their best game. They've looked efficient. They've got points in early, and I reckon if they make the most of this last 3 minutes and 45 seconds, they could push maybe 400 points here, which would be massive.
I mean, there's 100 points sitting right there up for grabs, and that was just picked up by the Somerset side, as we saw. You know, sometimes you do get these super drops. That was a big one. And I think that was probably the final blow that's going to put this game out of reach. Army Seal looking like they're just forcing some hay bales underneath. On the other side, though, you can see Duck continuing to use the conveyor belt, practicing those double stacks. They might come into play when they do make it to the grand final, because guess what? At this pace, in 3 minutes' time, Somerset will be our first team qualified for that grand final event.
Yeah, and I've been really impressed with Duck. The consistency that they've managed to get these double-stacked bales up on the conveyor belt as both go in. 237 points to 60. That's a 177-point lead in Somerset's favour. I'm calling that game there. I don't see Earnshaw getting back into this, unfortunately for them, as Duck stacks another one on the conveyor belt. Remonster rams that one in the bottom to get another 10 points, and that is a very, very convincing performance for Somerset, as all they need to do now is wind down these 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's kind of victory time right now, so don't be surprised if we see some silly shenanigans, I feel like, happen on the Somerset team. More silly shenanigans than normal. Nathaniel still going to try to continue to load those hay bales, still going to try to get as many points as possible for the Earnshaw side. Again, Earnshaw's afternoon is not done, even if they fail with this game right here. Nathaniel flicks it on through for another 10. They're still going to have a best-of-3 series against Forest Lakes, who also came up short against Somerset, and that's really going to be the fight for that second spot in the grand final.
Yeah, that will be a very, very interesting watch. Both teams losing out to Somerset. Both teams would now have seen how each other play. They'd probably be strategizing that Forest Lakes side while watching these two go at it. I think it'll be interesting. I think it will be closer than this series. Maybe we might even go to a game 3, we'll see. But Duck, 2 bales on his tractor, heading back over to the conveyor. 90 seconds to go. Wendy has got, that is a lot of bales. I don't know whether or not they'll get to the barn in time, but I don't think it'll matter.
I mean, now with the bridges unfortunately coming up right there, that means Remonster has to take the long way around. 307 was the most points scored by Somerset in their matchup against Forest Lakes. They're kind of close to being able to beat that mark. Remonster might go for the conveyor belt in an attempt to try to get themselves closer to it, or they could throw in the hay bale underneath. Remonster seems to like going low. That has been their MO. Whoop, that one did wind up missing. Meanwhile, Nathaniel B trying to get their first points instead uses it to block the doorway so no one can now go in or out the conventional way into said barn. That's a little bit awkward. Nathaniel B will be looking to realign. Meanwhile, even though there's only 42 seconds left, Duck practicing again those double stacks, trying to get them under pressure, and that will break that 300-point limit if they get it in. I mean, Wendy underneath already got it to 301. One more hay bale in the lower breaks Somerset's record. However, 2 more in the upper absolutely smashes it. Under 30 seconds to go. Those 2 hay bales are going to reach, and Somerset has broken their individual score record.
Yeah, and again, Duck has been really consistent with these.
Oh, no!
As that one falls off, obviously it won't matter. They'll have broken their record, but I'm sure that would have been nice for them to go in. 7 seconds to go. That's wraps on this one. That's game, set, and match for the series. Somerset taking this one 2-zip. As we'll see them in the grand final later on this Arvo.
Yeah, congratulations to Somerset. A new individual record for themselves. 2-0 through the group stages. They have made it to the final where they will either be rematching against Forest Lake or Earnshaw. However, that was their strongest game yet, not just because of the points, but again, yeah, you could say, oh, they still had 9 undelivered bales, but I'm not going to be as questioning on their efficiency this time around. This is the first time we saw them with more bales in the barn than outside of it. A lot of them on that higher as well because of those double stacks. Really well done by the Somerset side.
Yeah, that was a really, really good performance from Somerset there. 14 bales delivered, 9 up on the conveyor belt, and I think a lot of those 9 came from Duck. They're getting really consistent at double stacking those. It's really showing in the score. I think probably 150 of those points, at least 150 of those points would have come from Duck getting those bales onto that conveyor belt.
Yeah, it was really well done by Duck in that regards. Before we go to our next break, though, we do have a special guest, which means I get to do my favorite thing on this broadcast and kick Callum off of it. Goodbye. Have important people to talk to now. And, oh, good, destroy the green screen on your way out. Yep, all right, thanks for that. But we're going to go ahead and have a chat with one of our teachers here for this event. Miss or Mrs. Wallace?
Miss Wallace, yeah.
Miss Wallace, all right, that's right. If I had known that information beforehand, we would have that. But a teacher from Earnshaw.
Hi.
Welcome to the event. What does this mean for you and your students?
Oh, we just love the opportunity to just join in and have a go. It's so much fun for the kids to just connect together, have a lot of fun, learn something new. For most of our players, the first time they played was 10 o'clock this morning. So they've done pretty well for their first go, and they were very proud of themselves. They improved their scores, so that was a huge win.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that because you did participate in this event 2 years ago as well and had a deeper run, but this is new students, new game for them. Obviously different expectations. However, it's still within that scope of esports, I suppose. So I'm kind of curious, what is sort of Earnshaw's goals when it comes to esports?
So we dabble in just a few different things. We're really pretty small school, so for us it's about just giving it a go and giving students a chance, particularly our students who maybe aren't sporty kids or excel in other areas, but this is just their thing, and they're like-minded, this beautiful community where they just share like-minded people and encouraging each other in just beautiful ways. And it's actually been lovely seeing the team today. Many of them are actually normally friends, but the way they've come together and laughing and giggling and encouraging each other, it's just awesome.
I feel like Farming Simulator is the kind of game, though, that can bring that, because it is a silly game. Like, as much as at times there are realistic tools being into place, again, how the vehicles work, how they are sort of compared to each other in terms of their performance, that's all well and good. But then we watch the game and we see them get flipped as drivers are sort of deadpan staring into the sky.
Absolutely. What you don't actually see on the stream here is how much laughter is happening in the background. If you ever listen into the Discord channel, it is so much yelling and laughing and just giggling as they go. They have so much fun, even if they've never played before.
Exactly, and that's kind of one of the great things about esports, I suppose, that can help sort of bring some of these students together. And then again, the more you get into it, if you get into the practice sessions, the communication, I feel there are a lot of tangible skills similar that you would learn from more traditional sports.
Absolutely, yeah. They get to learn some of that sportsmanship. They learn how to talk to each other. They learn some of the training things. We didn't get much opportunity to train, unfortunately, with this particular group, but even just the morning training, they really dedicated themselves. The strategy, the discussion, even just learning and how much they have progressed from a couple of hours ago, just the strategies they talk about, okay, we're going to get this and we're going to do this and then we're going to, at this time, we're going to do this just within a couple of hours.
Yeah, and then trying to put that into practice, well, that's the next step.
That's the next step. Yep, they've got a lot of strategy, but actually actioning it out, it's a bit another story altogether.
Well, fortunately for you in Earnshaw, they are going to get another chance. It's going to be a matchup against Forest Lakes, and that's going to be happening in a few moments. Thank you so much for joining me back here, Ms. Wallace, and good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you. And on that note, yeah, we will be throwing it for a little bit of a break, but when we come back, our third match of the group stages when we return.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Hope so far everyone's been having a wonderful time here at the EKKA, especially here at the XB Esports. I wanted to say booth initially, but it's more of a stage. It's more of an environment. And if you haven't already but want to learn more about XB Esports, do find one of those QR codes. Go ahead and scan it. And you can learn so much about what we do have to offer in terms of promoting esports at, well, not just a high school level, but at a professional competitive level as well. That's neither here nor there, though, Callum, because guess what? It's now time for our third and final group stage matchup. Forest Lakes about to go up against Earnshaw. Winner goes to the grand final.
Yeah, this is a very high-stakes game for both teams. Both teams will obviously want to book their spot in the grand final. Personally, if I had to predict, I would predict Forest Lake. That second game versus Somerset, decided by 2 points. I think they'll have the edge over Earnshaw here, but obviously, Earnshaw could surprise anyone as we see the bands coming out, the Massey Ferguson again.
Yeah, I mean, Earnshaw has been showing signs of improvement, right? 60 points in their first game, 80 in their second, but they had a lot more hay bales in the vicinity of that barn. They definitely can put up some big numbers. However, the difference between Forest Lakes Game 1 and Game 2 in their series against Somerset was absolutely massive, and they only lost that second game by 2 points after cracking that 300 number. So Forest Lakes definitely can put some big points down. We'll be curious to see if they're going to do that in this matchup as we move right now into that first deciding moment. Now, last time Earnshaw forgot to take a team perk. I would like to make sure they get one here, and they absolutely do.
Yeah, again, the unstoppable perk. I believe that is the one that slows down the opponent's conveyor belt, and yeah, it does, and speeds up their conveyor belt, which will be useful assuming they can get some bales on the conveyor belt. Yet to do that so far. They did struggle in Game 1 and steered clear of the conveyor belt in Game 2, but I think to beat this Forest Lake side, they're going to need to try and use that a bit more effectively.
I do have to agree. Meanwhile, the bottleneck taken back in a response, which I do think is actually kind of effective against this Earnshaw side because they are a little bit slower, so having to make them travel that extra bit further can disrupt them. Now, Easy Stack, once again, is going to be selected for Earnshaw, so I do believe they're going to continue to try to work that lower bit of the barn. Archimedes initially taken by Useless Snow as well, so trying to combat, I believe, some of that unstoppable a little bit. We'll see how that does work out. Easy Stack actually being taken by both sides.
Yeah, and I do think, because I did notice when Earnshaw played, that Cheese Lover was the one harvesting more than putting the bales into the barn, but considering he has the Easy Stack perk, I think he will have to take the lead. Sorry. They will have to take the lead. I'm not assuming anything. As the Peanut Butter Woman also will have to take the lead, putting these barns in, putting the bales into the barns.
Yeah, we'll see if that does come into play as we do get ourselves ready to go. It is time for game number 1 in this best of 3. Forest Lakes taking on Earnshaw. Grand final right around the corner. We are underway. As everyone starts driving their way towards, any of these vehicles. We'll have a look at the Earnshaw side to see who is going where. Similarly, though, for the side of Forest Lakes, it looks like they're going straight for the Harvester as well. Useless Snow has that Harvester lined up, and away they will go. Cheese Lover will be a little bit further behind. Meanwhile, Peanut Butter Woman was able to get that second Harvester right there, and that will be taken away. And this is something we didn't explain before. These vehicles on the black pads, it's first come, first serve. And even though they're mirrored on each side, if your opponents are able to get to it before you, well, then you miss out. And this is something that I am excited to see Nathaniel B having a look at the loader. Do we finally get to see the loader in play?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, as already Forest Lake
not.
have 4,000 grain and counting harvested with 2 bales, and only now have Earnshaw started harvesting. This is already a lead 1 minute in for Forest Lake, and Earnshaw already on the back foot, which is something I'm sure they wanted to avoid.
I mean, you can see it was the double harvester start for Forest Lake. They've already got something going for them. Meanwhile, Earnshaw just now getting their second harvester down and in. Those 2 hay bales as well that you're seeing for Forest Lake, they were the 2 collected from the town, as we do watch good old, I believe that is Danny Boy, who will be taking the 2 bales all the way back to the barn. You just got to make it over the bridge and, well, not do that. Realign yourself. Second attempt, even without that speed. It's oh boy, too slow, but you should be able to send it across, or are you? Oh my goodness, it's pulling Danny Boy back down, hanging on desperately again. OH&S, please look away. This obviously is not the norm.
Yeah, and I think that bridge, looking at how Danny Boy's tractor is positioned, I don't know whether or not he'll be able to get that unstuck. It looks cool and composed in the tractor, but that looks very difficult to get out.
Yeah, that's not where you want to see your compactor heading out right now, as might have to cut losses, but that's your compactor, right? That's how you collect your hay bales. That's your baler, and your baler is currently hanging off the side of a bridge right now. Danny Boy pinned once again, cannot get this tractor out. This is a disaster for Forest Lake.
And if I was Earnshaw, I would be running back over to those black spawn pads and trying to take the other balers away.
I believe that is illegal in this event.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah, you're not allowed to win by blacking out balers.
Oh, yeah, true. That I remember.
So do not do. Oh my goodness! What? You know what? We don't question things in Farming Simulator. This is, again, a simulator, the most realist farming tool out there, and that's just what happens when a baler bounces, off water.
Yeah, obviously,
We saw a Rocket League pinch.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, Danny Boy just using his telekinesis powers, or whichever it is, to get that baler back out. Obviously calculated tactical play there from Forest Lake.
Nathaniel, looking like they're having a little bit of trouble right now. Not really sure what's happening here, as we're going to just kind of zoom in on them and see what's going on. Hey there, Nathaniel. You doing all right? Trying to load up their baler for themselves. Yeah, it looks like that might be the wrong vehicle for collecting a baler.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not that's going to be viable for Nathaniel B there. Gonna keep going. Oh,
yeah, there you go.
Persistence.
That's how it's done.
That's obviously how tractors work, with one wheel on the ground. That's exactly how real life farming works. And yeah, Nathaniel B is now rolling down the hill.
No, they'll figure it out, I'm sure.
It's going very, very well.
This is not as intended, but you know what? We're sticking to it, right? Where there's a will, there's a way for Nathaniel, and away he goes to go start collecting and trying to get some hay balage going. Meanwhile, on the side of Forest Lakes, Danny Boy has finally gotten the baler towards the barn, and we'll start unloading those hay bales, looking to get those first points on the board.
Yeah, both sides still yet to score this game, and we're almost 5 minutes in. In fact, we will hit the 10-minute to go mark without a point being scored on either side. Those bonus points for the first bail in are very pivotal. Like, that was what won Somerset College that game over Forest Lake.
It absolutely was, and now Danny Boy will be looking to get the first hay bale across over for the Forest Lake side. Not a lot of bales have been created. I mean, there's still 0 bales made, unfortunately, for the side of Earnshaw, as we can, again, just sort of take a look at how Nathaniel is going. Again, that baler and that tractor just not really a good mix, and I feel like Cheese Lover might be looking to take bailing duties off of Nathaniel. That is why we are seeing them sort of detach themselves right there. First bail, though, has been secured. It was a lower bail for the side of Forest Lakes, but guess what? They're on the board.
Yeah, just looking down the bottom left, look at the comparison of grain levels. Forest Lake are 24,000 grain ahead. I think Nathaniel B's issues with bailing might have cost Earnshaw a little bit in this first game. They're still yet to get a bail. They're still yet to score a bail, and we're almost halfway through this game.
Yeah, it's looking a little dire, unfortunately, for the Earnshaw side. Meanwhile, Peanut Butter Woman once again starting to collect some hay and kind of throwing it in the stables. You might want to feed some horses when you get horses, but as you can see, still empty down here. So probably best to put into the barn, and that's exactly what Peanut Butter Woman is going to be looking to do. Meanwhile, Danny Boy is starting to collect some hay, is starting to get those balers running as Useless Snow continues to just use that harvester to harvest up as much of that wheat as possible. Things are looking all right for Forest Lake. It might not be as efficient as we saw in Game 2 against Somerset, but they still have a pretty comfortable lead.
Yeah, and they might still be warming back up. Obviously, having an hour break between their games might still have to get back into the swing of things because, again, new players to the game. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit to get used to, and I'm sure as they did in the first series. Is it?
Yeah, that's a forklift. Presley Socks. Now, the forklift is used for, to easily load the hay bales into the conveyor belt. The problem is Earnshaw doesn't have any hay bales yet.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the forklift is going to achieve here because they don't have any bales.
I mean, they're fun to drive.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's just going to run over all the wheat you have grown, but, forklift.
Oh, no! As Nathaniel goes back to harvesting it correctly.
Cheese Lover has no mercy for their teammates. Absolutely pilaxing both of them. Jumping out of the tractor almost as if to say, you want to take this to a fist fight? I will take this to a fist fight. It seems like Earnshaw are just having fun at this point, which I'm
having fun with them. I mean, that was great. That was absolutely great. Forest Lakes, though, they're playing to win at this stage as we can take a look at Peanut Butter Woman, who has been super consistent in being sort of that player who unloads. And we did see this from Somerset in their last games, the practicing the double stack for that grand final. It looks like Peanut Butter Woman is going to be doing the same. Useless Snow dropping off a couple more hay bales as well for Peanut Butter as, the belt's broken.
Yeah, I think that might have been a power-up that went against Forest Lake there, as we see up the top right. I don't know whether Earnshaw claimed that, probably, to ruin their conveyor belt.
Well,
Peanut Butter Woman is still going to put it on there for when it starts back up in about 30 seconds, but...
That 30 seconds is their multiplier. I don't think that conveyor belt's starting back up again.
Oh, really? That would not be ideal.
Yeah, no, that's... I mean, Peanut Butter Woman is stacking it, don't get me wrong, but yeah, that is not moving. You can zoom in and we can kind of just take a look at this. Like you'll see, it is at a standstill. The chain not moving.
Yeah, well, this is where Earnshaw can come back into things. I mean, maybe if they can get a bail at some point in this game, we're 10 minutes in and still yet to get a bail, but maybe slow and steady wins the race. Who knows?
We will see as
they're
we
all stopped.
Take a look at where Earnshaw's going. They haven't stopped. They're still moving. But the problem is, again, the baler isn't on the ground. The baler is unable to create hay bales. It looks like they finally have the right tractor for the job, though. They might be able to make their first hay bale in this matchup. Lowering it down, you can see it's going to start sucking up all that grain. There we go. They finally have done it. They have finally figured out how the hay bale works. 5 minutes remaining. The question is, will Peanut Butter Woman be able to figure out that the conveyor belt is not working and go instead to the lower end of the barn? It looks like that's the case. They have 50 points at the moment, but now it looks like all the hay is just kind of stuck on said conveyor belt.
Yeah, and you were right. That conveyor belt does not look like it will be starting back up. So maybe Earnshaw have a way back into this. Like if they can get a couple hay bales onto that conveyor belt, they'll get mad bonus points if they manage to get their first one up there, and then a couple more, and who knows.
Yeah, no pressure then, Krusty Socks. Let's see if you can make this forklift and put it into work. Cheese Lover still just going for a joyride through the field, as you do. Meanwhile, on the side of Forest Lakes, Danny Boy continuing to try and make some late hay bales. At this stage, though, in those final 4 minutes is when you really want to be converting them into points. Peanut Butter Woman continuing fruitlessly just to try to get that conveyor belt to work, but it's kind of given up. And while you wait, you might as well do some doughies, I suppose, in the backyard. Here comes Krusty Socks, though, looking for those first points for the Earnshaw side.
Can they get it up on the conveyor belt? They failed every attempt in their first series, but that's not going to stop Krusty Socks from giving it a go here. It would help the game if they were able to get it up.
I mean, they're trying at the moment, but it's just not quite there yet. I mean, you want it more vertical than horizontal. Krusty Socks aware of that. Is instead going to look for another approach, or are we going underneath? It looks like we're going underneath, or at least trying to right now. First attempt hits the wall, second attempt hits the door. Third time lucky, Krusty Socks gets 40 big points for the Earnshaw side. 3 minutes remaining, neither side using conveyor belts. If Earnshaw can get 3 more hay bales in, guess what? They're still in this match.
Yeah, and we hear the crowd loving that from Earnshaw, scoring their first 40 points for this game, but Forest Lake add another 10 to make it 80-40. I do think that Earnshaw might have to get a couple on that conveyor belt up top, although looking at the multiplier, I don't actually think that there's a point, because they only have a times 1.0 multiplier, so even if they did get it on the belt, it would only give them 10 points anyway. Yeah,
exactly, and because of the situation where, unfortunately for the side in red of Forest Lakes, they did kind of just blow their they blew up their conveyor belt by pushing it to that 3 times mark, and that's, you know, it's a little bit awkward. Normally you try to cut it off right before then. Either way, Peanut Butter Woman, though, still taking advantage of getting those hay bales in underneath, because by making it 1 times, that's sort of the positive of going 3 times to kind of push you on like that even playing field. 100-40 right now. Peanut Butter Woman just getting another 2 hay bales in. Meanwhile, for the side of Earnshaw, they're still just struggling to get whatever they can.
Yeah, I mean, Cheese Lover does have 1 bale on their tractor. Going to go for the bridge. Will it rise at the worst possible time? No, I think they're over, yep. So if they can get that one in, it would be 100-50 with 1.5 minutes left. And they do have 8 bales out on the field.
Oh, no!
That's probably not ideal from Cheese Lover. No, they've recovered.
But they're going for the conveyor belt with a 1 times multiplier.
Yeah, that just wastes time. Just drive it in the bottom. You get the same number of points right now, Cheese Lover.
Well, unfortunately for Cheese Lover, even if they had a 2 times multiplier, it still will not be enough realistically to get themselves back in it. Danny Boy has brought the baler over for any last chance of points over for this Forest Lake side, as Forest Lake should be taking game number 1 at this position.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty comfortable for Forest Lake. Obviously, the conveyor belt breaking down was not a part of the game plan for them, but a 70-point lead with 1 minute to go. They'll take game 1 here.
Yeah, they are going to be doing just that as, a little bit of contact between Cheese Lover and Krusty Socks. Eventually, Krusty Socks should get that bale into the barn. Nope, you won't be able to do it outside of the vehicle. There you go. Get back in. So I think we should be able to watch them. There you go. Put that one through. Another 10 points as more points coming in for the Forest Lake side as well.
It's a cozy barn.
It is. Forest Lake's getting a lot of points right now, actually. Cheese Lover gets their 10 points. 140-60, and it does look like that's going to be our final score in game number 1. Take one last look at it. Unless Useless Snow can get another one in, another 10 points perhaps for the Forest Lake side. It wasn't as dramatic as the 305 they got against Somerset, but still a decent chunk of points in the end. 160 as Peanut Butter Woman throws that last one through. More than enough to take game number 1.
Yeah, and with a broken conveyor belt, 160 points is not a bad score at all. I think Earnshaw may have missed an opportunity there. Having that broken conveyor belt on the Forest Lake sign meant they had to go all 13 of their bales on the bottom. They did not use their conveyor belt once. And if Earnshaw could have used their conveyor belt, maybe gone to the silo, got their multiplier back up, it could have been a lot closer game.
It could have been a closer one, but again, I think the big takeaway that I have looking at this, Forest Lake's figuring out what Somerset figured out a bit later. They have more delivered bales than they have undelivered, and that is a huge step forward. The other thing of note from that game as well that's worth highlighting was the Earnshaw's slower start. It took them a little while to figure out the correct baler to use with the tractor that they had set up. As soon as that was set, they were good to go. But hopefully, as we look ahead towards game number 2, they'll be a little bit quicker out of the gate.
Yeah, and it does look like the Earnshaw side, I mean, they were enjoying their time. They looked like they were having a little bit of fun as well, ramming each other. Maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't, but that's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're here to enjoy their experience, and I rate that from them.
I mean, we spoke to their teacher earlier this afternoon. They're here to have a good time, and that's exactly what we've been seeing. But we're also going to be seeing is game number 2. That will come to you after a quick break, so do stay with us. Game number 2 in this series when we return.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Welcome back, everybody. We're getting set for game number 2 in this series between Earnshaw as well as Forest Lakes. Forest Lakes, it was an interesting performance in game number 1. Their conveyor belt was a little bit too overpowered. It kind of caught on fire and exploded. They got to that 3 times multiplier, which is always a dangerous place to be. And result, only the lower part of the barns were used for both teams, but Forest Lake still won.
Yeah, Forest Lake winning that one by 100 points, I think it was. 160 to 60 in that game as we enter the band phase for the final time in the round-robin group stage. Be interesting to see. Make sure to use your points wisely, especially Earnshaw, who did not do that in their first series, left a few points in the bank.
Yeah, but we have improved as we've moved on. They did look a little bit better in this second one, so hopefully that will be something that continues as we kind of keep on banning on. A couple interesting picks taken away, but you are right. I think Earnshaw still has yet to properly utilize this pick ban phase, put together a composition that works for them. The big pitfall that they ran into last time was a tractor that was not compatible with the harvester that they went for. Sorry, not the harvester, with the baler that they had set up, and the end result, well, was a tractor driving around on 2 wheels and a baler unable to make bales.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously didn't work in their favor, Earnshaw. And obviously we saw they were messing around a bit, bumping each other, or having a bit of fun. But it is now do or die for them if they want to qualify for this grand final later this afternoon. They need to win this game and the next. Whereas Forest Lake, they are on their way to book their ticket in the grand final if they win this, as Earnshaw come with the bottleneck perk. They haven't picked that one yet so far.
Yeah, so Earnshaw finally using that bottleneck that has been used consistently against them, and we'll see how that comes into play. Based on the gameplay that we've seen so far, I'm still not sure bottleneck is realistically where these teams should be looking to select, because it feels like all the bridges have been death traps, not just that third one. Either way, though, that's where we are going to be headed, as everyone will now select the tractors and, more importantly, those perks that they're going to be using. And Archimedes seems to be the sort of the first decision from each side.
Yeah, Archimedes has definitely been picked a lot. I think it's been picked in every game so far, obviously allowing for the trailers to unload 50% faster while operating, which could be useful, obviously is likely to be useful, as both teams also pick Easy Stack, with Army Seal and Peanut Butter Woman handing themselves the responsibility of getting these bales into the barn, which did notice Peanut Butter Woman did take that responsibility on last game and did score most of the points for Forest Lake, as both sides have picked the exact same perks, both picking Under Pressure as well.
Yeah, and this makes sense to me. I mean, we'll be curious to see how this one will go through as we do get into it. I'm still not sure on this Archimedes pickup, just because we haven't really seen anybody use the trailer, at least just yet. I mean, it's great for the harvester again to kind of increase that speed, so we should be expecting to see, Snow and Cheese Lover on the harvesters, Army Seal and Peanut Butter Gamer loading the hay bales in, and Danny Boy as well as Ocus perhaps, almost acting as a bit of utility and sort of where the team is going to be needed. We'll see where that goes, though, as we do make our way back onto the farm. Again, do or die for Earnshaw. They need to win this game to stay in the competition.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see who gets to their tractors or vehicles first and who can get a good start, as I think Earnshaw, I think, got off to a good start there. Yeah, Cheese Lover already in their harvester, hoping to get off to a good start, but Forest Lake also very efficient. Danny Boy, that is, getting his baler on the back of the tractor, and another one of their members in a harvester.
Yeah, now Danny Boy and essentially Forest Lake has done this every single game, where they will go straight for that baler and just straight down this line and get those 2 points as quickly as possible. That said, looking over at this side of Earnshaw, well, they're looking to do something similar. The problem is they just drove straight into the baler and wound up knocking it over.
Yeah, and that doesn't look easy to get righted again, so it'll be interesting. We can watch this for a bit. Let's see how Army Seal deals with this situation here.
Yeah, Army Seal is going to try their best to try and right this baler, and they will, well, trying to get more and more physical with it. This could be a little while before they figure out how to get this one right as rain is. Are they looking to impale those tires?
Yeah, pop the tires. Obviously, that is the play to get that back righted again.
Obviously.
It's the most tactical play I've seen today, I think. That is high-level plays right there from Army Seal, as we see Okus harvesting a lot, and Cheese Lovers there, I think, to get that baling started. So Earnshaw are looking to be more efficient this game as compared to others, but Forest Lake already with 2 bales and 10,000 grain and counting. It's already a lead for them, as we've seen in Game 1 this series.
Yes, we'll watch Danny Boy navigate, the safer bridge in this situation, looking to get those first points on the board for the side of Forest Lake. Last game, it took him about 4 or 5 minutes before the first points came through. This time, however, we could be doing it in 2.5. Danny Boy just going to be looking to unload that hay bale right in front of that lower barn door, and as soon as that goes in, it will be first points over to the team in red.
It's interesting to see what the play is from Danny Boy. Looks like they might be trying to even reverse it in while it's still on the baler, but I don't think that will work for Danny Boy there, as we see Useless Snow still harvesting. That's a lot of grain on the field as Peanut Butter Woman comes in with their tractor, but no baler on the back of it, which is interesting.
I mean, they just ran and grabbed it, right? So I think they're actually not looking for a baler. They could be looking to grab this trailer right here, which is about to be loaded by Useless Snow, and they'll be taking that to take it over to the silo to get that multiplier back up. So yeah, that is why there is no baler. No problem with that, at least in my eyes. On the other side, however, you have the grain being collected right now. Still no bales being collected, as I think I want to check out what exactly has been happening over here. I mean, the baler's gone. The baler's been righted. Army Seal has finally got that baler up and running.
Yeah, and while we've been obviously checking out the rest of the field, I think it was Danny Boy that got Forest Lake's first points of this game, 64-0 at this stage. Obviously, that first bale does give quite a large bonus points to Forest Lake, so a good start for them, as these 2 perks happen to drop right in front of Army Seal.
Yeah, bale drop, so you get 1 bale right there, which will be delivered right in front of your barn, and Army Seal's going to go ahead and pick that up. So nice little grab for Army Seal. See if we can find out where that bale actually does get dropped. I believe should be somewhere around here, unless they missed it. Not too sure. Either way, though, back over on the Forest Lake side, Danny Boy has got their baler going, and you can see them collecting right now. So much grain up for grabs right now, courtesy coming from Peanut Butter Woman, as well as, I believe, actually, it wasn't Peanut Butter Woman, it was Useless Snow who has just created all this grain.
Yeah, and it does look like Peanut Butter Woman or one of the Forest Lake players are going to go towards the silo with that trailer, but they'll have to be careful to make sure they don't fill it too high and break their conveyor belt again, because it's As much as Earnshaw didn't capitalize last game, it could be costly this game.
Yeah, we'll see if that is the case or not. Again, sometimes tactically breaking it can work out in your favor. Either way, Danny Boy has got, the 2 hay bales set, ready to go. I expect them to start bringing it over quite soon. Peanut Butter Woman now making their way, not sure where, actually, they're looking ahead, unless they're going to pick up. Well, no, they shouldn't be going to pick that up because they already have. I think Peanut Butter Woman is just going to be collecting a couple of these hay bales that are just left out on the field.
Yeah, with a 64-point lead already, and Earnshaw, they do have 6 bales across the field. I think they will need to try and get all 6 of those bales onto that conveyor belt as soon as they can to try and put some pressure back on Forest Lake, because at this stage, they're yet to be ahead so far. They have been behind in every game they've played, and I think they need to put some pressure back on Forest Lake. As we see Danny Boy nearly driving over the fence, but not quite, will adjust and head back towards the barn with bales in tow.
Yeah, Danny Boy going to be just fine, it looks like. Meanwhile, taking a quick look at the Earnshaw side, we can see Army Seal at the moment has been baling that hay, and now is also using, the forklift on their tractor to get a 3rd bale of hay. And I imagine they're going to start making their way back over to the barn in only a few moments. 2nd baler has been picked up as well by Cheese Lover, and they're going to start collecting some of that hay for themselves as well. And with 2 balers on the farm, you still need to move them towards your barn before you can start getting those points. And that's not something we've seen Earnshaw do just yet.
Yeah, but I mean, if we look down the bottom left, the bale count is almost even at this point, so it could be a closer game than we might think if Earnshaw can get their bales towards their barn and try and get some on the conveyor belt. Still, of course, yet to get a bale on that conveyor belt, but now would be a time to do it.
Now would be a very optimal time to do it, as we kind of just look and see themselves lining it up, and Peanut Butter Gamer making their way as, well, they're just having a little run, it looks like. Trying to find a new angle. They're going to collect one of those perks. It looks like they picked up the grain multiplier. So that means when they start to fill their silo, they'll fill it up that much quicker.
Yeah, which could work against them, though. Remember last game, as I think that is Danny Boy taking the trailer off to the silo to get that multiplier up. But again, they'll need to be careful to not break their conveyor belt. They do have 3 hay bales near their barn, as we see the orange ghosted ones there. 4, actually. That could be a lot of points for Forest Lake if they had someone there to put them away, as Army Seal is stopped on the blue side with bales in tow, but not really going anywhere with them at the moment.
Yeah, interesting. A Useless Snow is on the run, and they got a long run to go before they get back to their vehicle. Yeah, there's a lot of hay bales outside their barn, but there's still plenty of time to put them in. So I'm not too concerned about that yet from Forest Lakes. I think they're going to try to collect as many hay bales as possible, bring them near the barn, and then in the final 3-4 minutes, that's where they're going to be looking to score their points. On the opposite side, though, again, Earnshaw was able to get their first one in. That's going to help them. You still have Army Seal in position to add a couple more as well, although they really need to use that conveyor belt right now. All it takes is 2 hay bales on that conveyor belt, and Earnshaw will have the lead. I see 2 hay bales outside the conveyor belt. Army Seal just needs to load it correctly.
Yeah, and that is not loading them correctly, flinging them to the side, but...
Oh, boy.
And there is Okus stuck on the bridge again. We've seen this before. It looks like, yeah, they should fall.
Whoop. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe they're balanced on their side. This is interesting physics right now. I've never seen a forklift on its side like that and not fall one way or another, but bridge is righting itself. Will it right Okus's?
I mean, it should help, right? Maybe not. Okus still seems to be stuck, unfortunately.
Yeah, and cutting their losses, getting out of that one, trying to fix it.
Yeah, that didn't really work, did it? And now they've cut their losses. Away we go. Okus trying to hitch a ride with the Army Seal rather just try and jump over. Those are some mad hops coming from Okus, who is now checking out what's inside the barn, realizes, okay, there's nothing in there that's going to help me. Army Seal, can you give me a lift, says Okus. Army Seal says, yeah, sure, hop on. Haha, psych. I was just getting out of the way.
Yeah, now Okus is going to try fix... Yeah, it's...
Oh, Cheese Lover's going for the ram, and now Cheese Lover is in danger of getting stuck on the bridge as he's starting to lift as well. Oh no, both of them always fixes themselves.
Fixed it though.
Ed just barely escapes. That said, Cheese Lover is now stuck on the bridge. So, from what we're learning in this situation, Earnshaw must always have at least one vehicle on a bridge. This time, though, Cheese Lover is able to right themselves, and in a good time too, because Okus trying to get those hay into that barn. That will put them within 4, but useless snow on the Forest Lake side is now starting to load some stuff on those conveyor belts, and this is where Forest Lakes can start to pull ahead. 2.9 times multiplier.
Yeah, Forest Lake were very smart. They went as close to the ×3 multiplier as they could without breaking their conveyor belt, as I think that bale from useless snow fell off. That is not what they wanted there.
Yeah, but I don't think this is what Earnshaw wants right here either.
I mean, from the laughter I'm hearing, maybe it is that they're enjoying themselves. I can hear them from here with the headset on. I mean, yeah.
Okus was still stuck.
Wait, Army Seals...
Oh no! Okus just got decked.
Army Seal has just RKO'd Okus. Everyone's losing their mind, but Army Seal is on a mission. Can they get the veil in? No. As another veil heads up from the Peanut Butter Woman. I think that one might fall on the head of Peanut Butter Woman. Yeah, looks a bit wonky. There it goes. Right back down. And Earnshaw did manage to score Army Seal, but Okus's forklift is on its side again.
Yeah, Okus still having problems with this forklift, unfortunately, as Army Seal gets stuck. Cheese Lover gets stuck. And here comes the bridge. Can they get off in time? Cheese Lover piggybacks off Army Seal to get over the bridge. They make it across, but no, Cheese Lover just spins it into the drink.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's not what Cheese Lover had envisioned when they tried to make the venture across. And Okus is watching, teabagging on Cheese Lover, looking down, shaking their head as Cheese Lover tries to get back up.
Yeah, that's not the position that I think either of them want to be in. Good news for Forest Lake, though. Hey, this Peanut Butter Woman has just been casually putting points on again and again, so they're looking all right. Okus has given up, I think, on whatever vehicle they had before and is now just content to stand and watch the chaos. 2 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in this matchup. Earnshaw, they had fun, I think it's safe to say, but unfortunately for the Earnshaw side, I'm seeing no hay bales in front of their barn. I'm seeing one. There's one hay bale there. That's not going to be enough. I feel like Forest Lakes is advancing to the grand final.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting grand final between Forest Lake and Somerset. Obviously, a 2-point margin between those two sides in Game 2, so quite evenly matched as here comes Army Seal around the outside with a few bales. Headbutts the fence, is now going to hopefully not fall into the ocean again. Yeah, there goes.
What is Okus's plan right here?
Okus is just enjoying their time, jumping on top of the tractor.
Oh, we're going full speed in the forklift. We fixed it and broke it again. And didn't fix it. Oh, wait, maybe. There you go. Forklift right back up.
Okus has just quietly been decapitated by the prongs of the forklift, but that's okay because it's a video game and Okus is actually fine.
Yeah, that said, here comes Cheese Lover now, who is also just trying to use the hay bales as a ramp. Doesn't really work out in their favor. Forest Lake just calmly scoring as many points as possible, practicing for what will be their grand final appearance. Under a minute to go. Earnshaw might not have won the battle. They definitely did not win the war, but you cannot deny they're having fun out there.
Yeah, and I think they're just making the most of this experience. It's not every day you get to be on a stage at the EKKA in front of an audience of people, including your family and friends. I think they're just making the most of the moment, which I can't blame them for. It looks like they're having a lot of fun, which it's the main thing.
Yeah, and that was, I think, one of their goals here for today. So, although Earnshaw's journey will end in about 15 seconds here, big congratulations to Forest Lakes right now. They've put forth another consistent performance for themselves again. Their game 2s always stronger than their game 1s. They never got to that 300-point mark again, though, like they did earlier in the day. They're going to have to if they want to beat Somerset. Either way, Forest Lakes, they do advance.
Yeah, and now the grand final in this afternoon. Short amount of time will be a good one, I think. Somerset and Forest Lake. Obviously, Earnshaw not quite up to the standard of their opposition, but again, they were having fun. As we look at the stats here, 8 total delivered bales by Forest Lake. Another 8 still not there. So there's still room to improve on the efficiency front, but 248 points is not a bad score. I think they'll need to improve on it to beat Somerset in the final, though.
Yeah, I mean, Somerset has had, 2 games now over that 300 mark, and another 2 of those, and they could be our grand champions. We'll talk a bit more about that, though, a little bit later. Soon we're going to have another interview, though, here as well with one of our teachers from Forest Lakes, and they can kind of sort of explain a little bit about their program, because we haven't just seen Forest Lakes, I feel like, in Farming Simulator. We've seen it across all the different high school events that we've had here.
Yeah, I mean, Forest Lake, obviously, for those that weren't here, taking out the Rocket League Championship. They did only win 4-3 in the final, but throughout the rest of the tournament, they were very convincing and have made another final here. I remember when I played in this tournament 2 years ago in 2020, I believe Forest Lake did come second in that. So they seem to be quite a powerhouse in XP Esports Championships.
I mean, it is a school that has been prioritizing esports, and I think that's a super cool thing to see. This is one of the rewards that you can have. When you are doing that, you get this opportunity to play on the stage right now in front of an audience, even a game that you might not necessarily know inside and out. So a big credit to this Forest Lake side. We'll be super excited to see how they do sort of participate in that grand final, and if they can bounce back and actually challenge Somerset.
Yeah, it'll certainly be an interesting grand final to see. Forest Lake looking to make it 2 from 2 for their school at the XP Sports High School League EKKA Showcase.
Yeah, it will be something that will be fun to watch out for, as I do believe it's time to have our interview. So Callum is going to go ahead and step aside as we get ready to speak from a representative from Forest Lakes themselves. It's Mr. Chaplin, I believe? Or
Clapham.
Clapham. All right. Well, thank you for joining me here. Sorry I got your name wrong. I'm 0 for 2 on those right now. But
That's all good.
have to be feeling pretty good as well for the fact that you saw Forest Lake. They got that win here.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We take our farming very seriously.
Yeah, that's very... Yeah, unlike Earnshaw, apparently, who are taking a little bit of demolition derby, each to their own. But I do want to talk a little about the Forest Lake sort of esports programs as a whole, because Rocket League was able to take that out and actually win the entire event. Finals right now for Farming Simulator. What is the esports program sort of like at Forest Lake?
It's all about having fun, getting involved, and giving things a go, which is why we're here today doing the Farming Simulator.
Excellent. And is there something like... Has that been like a concentrated effort, I suppose, from Forest Lakes as a school itself to start prioritizing esports more and more and encouraging these students to pursue these interests?
Yeah, we've got esports built into our IT curriculum. Very strong focus, both from an academic and a social perspective.
Excellent. And now, Farming Simulator isn't your traditional esports. I don't think this is one that when students are signing up to get involved in that curriculum, they might not be looking at this. Are your students participating in this one? Are they like some of the others where this is like their first time really getting involved with the game, or do they have experience in it?
I believe these boys have participated in previous years. Mm-hmm. And we've got one of the boys watching who will be participating next year, hopefully.
Oh, that's exciting. So there has been some strategy, there has been some pre-planning. This is, we're in this one to win it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, excellent. That's exactly what we want to hear. Now, one last question, I suppose, just sort of being at the EKKA in and of itself with the school, what are you hoping that these students necessarily get out of it at the end of the day?
Having fun, having the confidence, and enjoying representing our school.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that. It was a good conversation we had. And grand final, I need the prediction. What's going to happen in that grand final?
I think it's going to be really close. I'd like to think Forest Lake all the way.
All right. Well, I won't blame you for being a little bit biased on that one. We'll be throwing it to a break. When we get back, it will be grand final time here at the EKKA.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
It's that time of the afternoon we've all been waiting for, the grand finals. Going to be Somerset having a rematch against Forest Lake, the match that we started today off with. Callum, last time they played it was decided by 2. This time you're going to need more than 2 to win it out because we're doing a best of 5. First to 3 wins this one out.
Yeah, best of 5, always interesting in Farming Simulator. Just gives either side more time if they need to stage a comeback. Because obviously the 2-0 sweep from Somerset last time they versed wouldn't be enough this time. Forest Lake, if they were in that situation this time around, would be able to still win this grand final.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw how close they got in that game, too, between these. I wouldn't be surprised if this series does go beyond a 3-0, 3-1, 3-2. I could see it going either of those. That's right. I'm predicting, I'm going to say it right now, I think we're going to see 5 games.
You think we're going to see 5 games? Well, I think personally that Somerset will get it done. I think they will either win 3-0 or 3-1. I don't think we'll go the distance, but happy to be proven wrong if it means we get more Farming Sim action.
Yeah, so we'll see how this one will play out in just a few moments. We will get into our picks and bans for this grand final. But before we do, one last time, I would like to thank our sponsors for this event, Computer Alliance for supplying all the tech for us, EPOS and the headsets that they're providing for both of the teams you see on stage right now. Both first and second place will be receiving prizes, as well as Giant Software. A big thank you to all of them as the ban phase is officially underway.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how many of the points they use from their bank, both teams. Obviously, we noticed that Earnshaw in their first series didn't use all their points, and both these teams used Bottleneck as their perk, so it'll be interesting to see if they stick with the same tactic or try and change it up a bit.
I mean, I want to see someone take the big haul, right? I want the wagon to be spawned. I want to see, you know, the utilization of some of the more stronger tools. Granted, that does come at the cost of perhaps some of the tractors that you'll get involved later, but as we move through our ban phase right now, nothing too crazy being taken away just yet. I am curious, though. We're saying, yeah, the New Holland, though, won't be allowed.
Yeah, I mean, the ban phase, the vehicles, there's plenty of tractors and options for teams, so I don't think this phase is as important, especially considering the teams are newer. They're not experienced with any of these vehicles anyway, so it's not like someone's having their main vehicle banned.
As we do move to that pick phase, I'm so curious to see, do we continue to get bottlenecked or do we go a different direction? No, it's all about the bottleneck, it's all about the AGCO ideal, and it's all about the John Deere.
Yeah, both teams picking the exact same loadout as they have in previous games as well. I think game 2 of the series versus these two teams had the same loadout as well, with the Bottleneck, the John Deere, and I forgot what the third name was, but that black one.
Oh, no perk taken from Useless Snow.
No, he's got the Archimedes.
Oh, it was delayed. Okay,
It's delayed, yeah.
I thought it was locked in, and I thought we were seeing something extra spicy. Instead, Archimedes and Runner are going to be taken by Monster. We haven't really seen the Runner perk, I think, use that effectively yet, except for at the very, very start of these matches where it's all about getting the vehicles before your opponents can take them away.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting here. Duck taking the Under Pressure perk, and Danny Boy also taking the Under Pressure perk. Not surprised there by those picks. I think both players have picked Under Pressure consistently throughout the tournament as we wait for the third players to pick. Yeah, there's the Archimedes for Wendy, and Easy Stack for none for Peanut Butter Woman, actually. That's an interesting call.
There's still time to change
There's still time, yeah.
And head start is what they're going to go for. So it is going to be a bit of a race, I feel like, from the very beginning in our first match. Again, this will be a best of 5. However, you want to take that game number 1. Game number 1 sets the tone, sets the tempo, and that's what's going to be on the line for each of these two schools. This is it, our grand final. Forest Lake are in blue. Somerset are in orange. 15 minutes on the clock. Get ready to count us in. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see who gets off to the best start here. Both teams were fast starters in their previous series, as we see Forest Lake, instantly heading down Useless Snow getting the baler ready, as they have done every series so far.
Yeah, they're actually doing a good job in going for different sets from each other. You can see the two different balers were not fought over. The first harvester's already lined up, ready to go. Useless Snow on one end, Wendy on the other. This is what we were talking about before coming into this one. These two teams, I think, are evenly matched, and you can see just in the tempo that they're sort of attacking the farm right now. Yes, you could say, Somerset looked to be ahead, but it is not a big lead by any stretch.
Yeah, I think both teams had some really good communication off the start there. No double-ups like we saw potentially in previous series. As you said, Somerset off to a bit of an early lead, but nothing too crazy yet.
Well, I mean, Somerset's already got that baler set and ready to go, and you can see Remonster's going to be making their way to the farm to try and get those first bale points in. Meanwhile, double harvester start for the side of Forest Lakes, and they're each attacking that same field, the field that is, kind of closer to where you're going to be able to move the hay bales to the farm because each have opted for bottleneck. It's really affecting their strategy. That said, as soon as Useless Snow gets themselves close enough, they're going to start attacking the second field.
Yeah, and the difference here is Forest Lake do have two harvesters, whereas I think Somerset are only going with Wendy there. Remonster with a baler, and I haven't seen Duck in a while, but I don't think he's rocking a harvester right now. So it'll be interesting to see whether just the one harvester will be enough or whether Forest Lake's gamble to take two will pay off for them.
I mean, we can see Duck right here with the other baler. Again, the deep one. It's something that, a lot of these schools have been opting for. So 2 balers, 1 harvester for the likes of Somerset, 2 harvesters, 1 baler. Meanwhile, for Forest Lake, says Danny Boy, I think is stuck.
Yeah, those fences can be easy to get stuck on. Not something we've seen before today, but looks like might be able to get it out. I don't actually see where it's stuck, but sometimes the game can be difficult.
That's where it's stuck.
Yeah, the back wheel not getting enough traction.
That is an unfortunate position to be in because this is crucial time being lost, especially with Somerset having already put some points in. Remonster was able to get them through 92-0. 6 cents becomes activated, and this is a great start at the moment for the team in red.
Yeah, Somerset wasting no time as we see Remonster actually using his runner perk there. Very, very speedy. Heading towards the blocked harvester. Maybe that's not. Yeah, up to the vacant. No, I don't know where Remonster is off to, but
we're going all the way for this harvester.
Yeah, picking up a second harvester maybe as I think up the top, Wendy's jumped out. Yeah, Wendy's jumped out of the harvester there. So maybe doing a swap. No idea where they're off to, but a couple people on each side not in a vehicle at the moment.
Yeah, it's a weird setup at this stage. Also, neither side is looking to be going for the multiplier just yet. We do see Danny Boy, though, is going to go ahead with their baler, I should say, and start looking to get the first points over for Forest Lakes.
Yeah, but 92-0 already. They're going to need to get some points on the board and quickly and hopefully faster than Somerset if they want to have a chance at taking this game 1. 92-point lead, as we've seen, is no small one, especially with Duck coming in with what looks to have at least 2, maybe 3 bales in the back there. If he can get all 3 of those up on the conveyor belt, that would be massive for Somerset.
I mean, we saw Duck practicing the double stacks before. I have no reason to doubt that they will be able to do it again, opting for the bridge. Again, you got to be fast on this bridge as they look to get themselves across. Straight over, looking clean, not getting flipped. There you have it. Our students can drive over the bridges.
Yeah, believe it or not, contrary to what we might have seen last game, it is possible to drive in a straight line. So good to see from Duck there as Danny Boy tries to line it up in the bottom, gets 40 points on the board for Forest Lake as they score their first bale. But here comes Duck. That'll be 1 unless he decides to drive up the conveyor belt. No, it looks like lining up 1 bale on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, it was the bale that was sitting in front of that second bridge right there.
Yeah.
Duck picked it up on their way of taking over the baler, as the baler will drop off those other 2 hay bales as well. They'll just kind of wheel themselves around, go ahead and collect that. Meanwhile, Wendy has gone ahead and is starting to unload some grain for that multiplier just in time for Duck to start loading it onto the conveyor belt and make the most optimal use of the points that are now going to be available for that Somerset side.
Yeah, but I've noticed down the bottom left, both sides, unlike what we've seen previously, they don't have excess bales. Like often at this time of the game, both sides would have 6 or 7 bales spare lying out in the field. But obviously, Forest Lake have none spare, and Duck, once he stacks these two and gets them up, they will also have none spare. So it'll be interesting to see how they have changed their game plan, because it's obviously not what they've been doing in the first couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, though, it does look like Forest Lake. They have a dedicated harvester, they have a dedicated baler, and then you have Peanut Butter Woman, who's looking to get involved in it. I think they're just going to get back into this tractor here and start looking to load those hay bales all together. So the 3 members of Forest Lakes, again, trying to act around dedicated roles. Speaking of which, Duck has the double stack going. They got really good at perfecting this before. However, sometimes a grand final do hit different. You've got the 2.4 times multiplier. You're trying to get the stack in there. That would be about, I want to say, 28 points.
24 points each, I believe. So
yeah. So that would be pretty good to get.
Yeah, lining it up here, it can be quite challenging. It is more difficult than it looks for anyone wondering why they're not just lining it up perfectly first try. Can be quite.
That's good, though.
Yeah, that looks about as straight as it gets. Maybe the bottom one hanging a little bit over the left, but I would have to say that looks like it's going straight up. That will be 48 points for Somerset, and that will extend their lead to over 100.
Yeah, that is really good for the Somerset side. Starting to get that big lead just as the perks did spawn for themselves. No one really running to grab them right now. Bale multiplier, direct delivery, it will be split up just like that. So the direct delivery will go to the team in red. The Bale multiplier goes to the team in blue. Keep in mind the Bale multiplier only lasts for about a minute and a half. So if you're on that Forest Lake side, now is the time to get those bales in. And meanwhile, on the other side, you know, it's essentially 30 seconds as well, and we're not really seeing that come through either. So neither perk, I believe, is going to be properly utilized.
Yeah, and we see Forest Lake. They don't have any bales ready. I don't think they were expecting the perk to come out. As much as they did pick the multiplier, they don't have any bales to multiply. So it kind of seems like a bit of a waste. Maybe they could have held on to it a bit, waited a little bit. Although Peanut Butter Woman will try double stack this one by the looks and get it up. Will it get up in time? 35 seconds.
Oh, it's going to be tight, and I'm not sure it would. And Peanut Butter Woman not even going to try. Just going to leave that double stack for a late game flurry, it looks like, and they'll pull away for now. Meanwhile, back on the side of Somerset, we do have Remonster rejoining their own backyard. They've got the baler, multiple hay bales about to be unloaded right here, and they're going to start looking to increase this lead. This is looking pretty solid right now, I feel like, for our team in red. That said, 9 bales on the farm currently for the Somerset side. If they can get that late flurry together, if they can get a bunch of points in these final 5 minutes or so by getting all those bales in, Forest Lakes actually has more points altogether on the farm right now.
Yeah, but I really like this from Somerset. They are not making more bales than they can get in time. Obviously, they have 4 spare bales. All 4 of them are by the barn. They get all 4 of those in. Then they go back and make more bales.
Oh, look at the multiplier, though.
Yeah, it's getting back up now in the side of Forest Lake. Yeah, there's Useless Snow pouring that grain in. It's still only 2.3 times, so it's not that much of a bonus compared to the 1.7 that Somerset have. Looks like
there's no one in that
there's
vehicle.
No one in
there. Yeah, no, that was just left over from before. Duck, though, it's going to keep trying to get those points now that the multiplier has shifted, as they'll go ahead and just try to get those hay bales. I think at this stage, if you are on that Somerset side, you're thinking we need to get as many points through as possible right now, because there's about to be a flurry of points going in that opposite direction. You can see 5 hay bales just outside. Add another 2. That is 7 ready to go. Peanut Butter Woman, though, only 5 minutes remaining. I'd like to see them start loading it now.
Yeah, they do have enough bales to potentially challenge Somerset, but with under 5 minutes to go, they're really going to be pushed for time here, especially if, I think that's Duck who is trying to line up that double stack on the other side. Yes, it is. If Duck can get those 2 up, as much as Peanut Butter Woman is also loading 2 up, they're just going to cancel each other out, and it's still going to be a 130-odd point lead.
I mean, yeah, but look at, again, it's not just about, the 2 versus 2. It's the 7 versus the 3. It's the 13 versus the 5. The potential points that Forest Lakes has right now would be able to take the lead, but they've got to start loading them now, especially with the multiplier in their favor. And if Duck's hay bales start to fall, that could hurt. Down it goes. So 196 is the scoreline, but no! It falls on the other side as well. Forest Lakes also missing out on some points.
Both teams having a bale fall off the edge there, but Peanut Butter Woman wasn't watching the other one as, Duck just puts the one
that's
that fell
not
in the
stable.
That is definitely going to fall off. There is 0 chance that holds on. I don't know how it hasn't fallen already, to be honest.
You say 0 chance, and there it goes.
There it goes, yeah. It was 0 chance.
Yeah, that said, now Danny Boy has come down to help out Peanut Butter Woman. So 2 members of Forest Lakes here to start loading these hay bales. That said, Wendy did drop off a couple more in favor of the Somerset side. So Somerset, they're just continuing to put on the points right now. They're continuing to get what's readily available for them. 3.5 minutes left. Forest Lakes, they need to get these ones through. They need to not fall off. And it looks like they did finally get one to take the entire journey of the conveyor belt to the top. And that's 23 points, but still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, 120 points ahead, Somerset over Forest Lake with 3 minutes to go. I think if Somerset do get the 3 bales that they have by the barn, that would be enough, regardless of how many spare bales Forest Lake have. But if we look down the bottom left again, Forest Lake have 12 bales. In 3 minutes, there is 0 chance that they get those bales in. So I don't understand why they consistently overestimate how many bales they can get in. They've roughly had the same number of bales in each time, around that 12 to 13 mark. So if they can't get more than 13 bales in, why are they bothering making more than 13 bales?
Well, I think they're going to try to, because the intent is definitely there, and they're more poised to get these 13 through than they have been in the past right now. You can see both Peanut Butter Woman and Danny Boy are in the area. There's still 2.5 minutes left. If they start loading these right now, they should be able to get them through. Even if not on the conveyor belt, they can get them through in the lower instead. What I don't agree with is Danny Boy going out to collect more. There's only 2 minutes to go. You need to start getting these hay bales into that barn.
Yeah, there's another 2 go up from Somerset compared to the 1 from Forest Lake. Those 2 will go. It's another 30 points for Somerset, taking this to a 150-point lead with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, but it's still within grasp. I feel like Forest Lakes, they need more than one person loading this conveyor belt right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen Useless Snow in a while. I don't know. Yeah, all the way the other side of the map. There's no need to be there. You already have the 2.5 times multiplier from the silo. No one's contesting that from Somerset. You need every person you can getting these bales into the barn right now.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's time to bring it back. It's time to start going. We'll see if they'll be able to make it back down in time, but with only 1:20, I don't know that's going to be the case. Wendy, not able to take that bridge, shut down a little bit, but that's all well and good. At the end of the day, Duck has just been so consistent in working with this conveyor belt. They have been able to kind of keep themselves steady. I think this double stack would be enough to secure the win in their favor, especially as their multipliers did climb. Not a lot, just a little bit, but enough again to just really keep Forest Lakes back.
Yeah, the Duck lines, another 2 up. That looks to be good, and if those 2 get up, which they definitely will in time if they don't fall off, that might be game, set, match for game 1 as the multiplier goes up in the nick of time to a 1.7 times, 269 to 141 with 30 seconds left. That's wraps on game 1 in my book.
Yeah, that definitely is looking to be the case, and so many hay bales just kind of left around outside of the barn for Forest Lakes, and Useless Snow trying to help get them in for any sense of points, but they're having to use that lower door. And I go back to that 4-minute mark when you had 2 Forest Lake members there. Both of them could have been working to get it on the conveyor belt. Instead, they went to try to collect more out from the field, and that's just what's going to be what hurts them in the end. This match is done. Game number 1, it's going to go to Somerset. Final score 286 to 174.
Yeah, very convincing from Somerset game 1. They have yet to drop a game this tournament. I'm sure Forest Lake are mindful of that as we look. Look at the efficiency of Somerset. That is very, very good. 12 total bales delivered, only 2 left on the farm, whereas Forest Lake barely got over the 50% delivered mark. And when it gets to finals, you can't afford to be leaving that many bales on the field.
Yeah, exactly that. It was too much left on the field, too slow in capitalizing at the end. That's how come Somerset's going to go ahead and take this first game. However, this is a best of 5. So just because you take game number 1 doesn't mean you're necessarily won. You're not even on match point yet. Still a lot of work for Somerset to do if they want to take this title. So we're going to be throwing it to a break, I do believe. A quick one. A quick one. And when we get back, it will be time for game number 2.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
The undefeated streak has continued. Somerset still has yet to fall. However, they only need to win 2 more games. That means 2 more chances for that slip up. Forest Lakes, they're going to be looking to apply that pressure. They got close last game in the sense that we saw the hay bales required to end it. However, no one there to load. Maybe Forest Lakes are going to have that strong finish here in game number 2.
Yeah, it was a very convincing win from Somerset. I felt that Forest Lake left it too little too late. They had too many bales left on the field for the amount of time that they had to get them in, whereas Somerset were very efficient with their bale usage, only having 2 bales left out on the field, and also were able to get 10 out of their 12 scoring point bales up onto the conveyor belt, which was largely thanks to Duck.
Yeah, Doug did a fantastic job. Wendy as well, I think, has proven time and time again they are the faster player in terms of getting those grain lines through. I mean, it's interesting because Forest Lake, sometimes they do look like to be a team where everyone has designated roles, but time and time again, Somerset has been quicker, and even though it might not be as clear-cut, they're working super well as a team, and that's been continuously giving them edges.
Yeah, Somerset obviously have that game plan, and it is yet to fail them so far. Pick the same perk, same vehicles every round, and it has worked for them every round, so I see no reason why they'd change that. Forest Lake really need to come up with something, as again, the exact same picks come out, Bottleneck, AGCO, and the John Deere.
It is the meta.
Yeah, it's seeming so.
It is the meta that both these teams are going for. Here, though, is where sometimes things might get a little bit mixed up. As we go for our individual picks, Remonster again going for that runner, Archimedes again on useless snow.
Yeah, it's seeming that Forest Lake aren't really changing things up, which despite the fact that they lost that game 1, they're backing themselves and their strategies to go again game 2 with the exact same strategy, so it'll be interesting to see. You'd think surely if they lose this one, they'd have to change things up for game 3.
Yeah, but I think the mistakes that they've been making hasn't been in the pick and ban phase. It's been in the execution stage of things. So to say that, like, oh, why aren't they changing anything up? Well, this isn't where they need to change things up.
Yeah, true, but I feel that the perk that gives the, I forgot the name of it, but the truck, it could be massive in favor for them, as Peanut Butter Woman doesn't pick a player perk. That could come back to bite them.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm a little bit surprised by that one, but we'll see how it will play out. There's your difference in this game. Either way, we are loading back on to the farm for game number 2 in this best of 5. Game 1 did go Somerset's way. They take this. They will advance to tournament point. That is what is on the line. We are now on and running, and as per usual, I'm going to be super curious to see how this one will pay out. As we can see, just speeding down. Forest Lake this time actually could be the faster team as they get the first harvester up for grabs. They get the second harvester as well. So 2 harvesters taking the third harvester super far away. If that is going to go over to, again, Somerset, if they want to run the 2 harvester strat, like, it's going to take them a while to get going. That said, I think aware of the situation, they could be making it their way there. You have Danny Boy already getting that first baler, and it will be Duck going for the first baler on the top side as well. This is, the first time we've seen realistically Forest Lake be that faster team.
Yeah, but as we see there, Useless Snow got to the first harvester, but realized there was one closer to the field, which Wendy has gone for every time, which gets Somerset slightly ahead, about a harvester's length.
But they're two harvesters to one.
Yeah.
They're not ahead at all. It's Forest Lake that's ahead.
Yeah, true. I didn't notice Peanut Butter Woman at the other end with the harvester, but they'll need to be mindful of not harvesting too much, getting too many bales in their head, getting too many bales on their side, not being able to get all of them in the barn by the end of the game.
Yeah, we'll see how we do go from here as, this is the double harvest strat. Forest Lake likes to run it. They've gone for it several times, and I feel like Somerset has been consistent enough on one harvester. They've been all well and good. They did get their second one going, though. Remonster just had to go for the very, very far one, as you can see on that far field, starting to go ahead and collect that grain. I expect the grain that Remonster is collecting will be used for the silo to increase the multiplier. On the opposite side, however, though, we do have Danny Boy looking to get that first bale, and they just missed the bridge completely. Kind of stuck in an awkward spot right there, and even further into the drink, Danny Boy falls.
Yeah, I'm sure that is exactly what Danny Boy wanted to avoid there. Looks as though maybe stuck a bit there, which would not be ideal for Danny Boy at all.
Duck, however,
cleanly
over. They took the time to line themselves up. They do get themselves across. Danny Boy actually might get a little bit unstuck as soon as that bridge rises, but more importantly, despite the faster start that we saw from Forest Lakes, it does look as if Somerset is still going to be the first team to get points.
Yeah, Danny Boy trying to get themselves unstuck. The only wanted vehicle on the Forest Lake side is both, there goes Peanut Butter Woman, Useless Snow still running about somewhere. Forest Lake trying to get some bales together. Obviously there are bales on the back of that baler, but it'll be hard to reattach it without going back into the drink. Danny Boy. Meanwhile, Duck at the other end looks to be getting some bales up. Yep, there's the first point, 64-0.
Yeah, that was a pretty good play by Duck, who now can go ahead and take that baler, you would have to think, and just use it to start, getting those bales going, keeping moving. Bale drop was picked up, though, for the Forest Lake side. Unfortunately for Danny Boy, they're still trying to get this baler fixed, because look where the jack is in this situation. If Danny Boy wants to attach that to that vehicle, they're going to have to be careful, and flipping the baler is not how you solve this problem. Or is it?
Is it? Maybe Danny Boy knows something that we don't. It has got it away from the edge of the water, but it's now on its side, which means obviously will be a bit difficult to attach. And
I think they're just lining it up, and now they're going to try and knock it stable. Nope. Well,
don't knock it into the water, Danny Boy. Anyway.
They're trying not to. I think it's just a matter of time before Danny Boy rights this ship, as they're trying to get underneath it and flick it up using the forklift capabilities of said tractor. You just got to get those prongs underneath it.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is. Danny Boy finally fixes the baler. As this is happening, however, it does look like Duck is getting a couple more points in for themselves. Meanwhile, should be worth noting, that is Wendy doing what Wendy has done quite consistently, and is starting to get that multiplier up for the Somerset side.
Yeah, that multiplier will get up another couple of levels before Duck's bale gets up the conveyor belt, which will be a couple more extra points. And we know, considering how close a game earlier was between these two teams, a couple points might be the difference at the end of it.
Yep, as they do keep looking to get more and more points over for Wendy right now. Back on the other side, we can see that is Duck just making sure that, the last conveyor belt actually fell, so a rare unforced error from Duck. This time, though, it is being lined up as smoothly as they possibly can. You have to imagine that one is going to go up and in. And once again, Somerset, they're super fast at the start.
Yeah, and we do notice again, bottom left, 6 bales to 2 in favor of Somerset, plus the 2 already scored with a third on the way up from Duck. That will make it 98 points to 0. They've still got 4 bales somewhere as Remonster, there they are, comes with the baler, drops them off for Duck to continue. They've got this nice system going.
I mean, that's only one. You can see the other three are still there. Wendy, meanwhile, is continuing to harvest and just manage the multiplier. That's going to be Wendy's role, and it's going to be up to Duck as well as Remonster to get the points in. Duck could be stuck, though, as they eventually, it looked like, forced the hay bale actually into the lower part of the barn. Probably not happy with that. Also, Duck has been the only consistent player to actually use the conveyor belt. I have found that Remonster prefers to go lower, as well as a little bit of inconsistency sometimes from Peanut Butter Woman when it comes to using that conveyor belt. And as long as Duck is starting to make mistakes on the conveyor belt, well, that could be an opening for Forest Lakes to get back in this game.
Yeah, but Forest Lake, they need to score some points soon if they want to start putting pressure back on Somerset. What happened last game is looking like it might happen again, where they just let the score get away from them, leaving too many bales too late. Obviously, they don't have enough bales. They're at even 5-all right now on the field. But they need to start scoring some points as Peanut Butter Woman looks to try get that one probably on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, we also will be having our first perk spawning in about 10 seconds. We'll be curious to see what is going to be up for grabs, who is going to go for what. Peanut Butter Woman may have lined up that hay bale, but I think they're waiting to see what sort of perks are going to be there for, everyone to take a look at. As Remonster will be the first one to get the choice. Lower the bridges, multiply the bales, having a think, having a chat, and we are going to go for a little bale multiplier, inching towards it, deciding and committing. Bale multiplier does get selected for the team in red.
Yeah, I think they might have been waiting to pick up that bale multiplier as Duck heads over towards the barn with more bales, narrowly escapes the bridge, hoping to make the most out of that bale multiplier. Maybe that extra seconds that they waited, that was Remonster waited, might allow them to get an extra bale or two.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. I mean, Duck is now in position. Remonster as well, bringing over that other baler, so they'll have a lot that they can start to unload right now, and with still plenty of time to do it, as long as Duck can start getting it in now. Meanwhile, Peanut Butter Woman was able to get their first in on that conveyor belt as they're looking for the second as well. That looks like it's straight enough to me.
Yeah, probably, and as we look up the top, someone on Forest Lake's team, I think it might have been Useless Snow, has got the multiplier up to 2.5, but again, Wendy back over there, equalizing it back up. I wonder how much grain they have there, whether or not they'll be able to make it a times 2.1 or more in favor of Somerset before they get more points. As Remonster, I think, puts one in the bottom and another one in the top on the conveyor belt.
And because of the fact that they had that multiplier from the power-up before, even though they were behind on the game multiplier, their bonus still was giving them more than 2 times what they would normally get. That's how come we saw 15 below. That's how come we saw 25 up above when it could have been a lot less. So, yeah, talking about making the best of sort of an awkward situation right there. Wendy's also done a good job in cutting down the multiplier. So even though it's 2.1 to 1.9, that's not really going to be enough when you're down by nearly 100 points if you're Forest Lakes.
Yeah, no, that's basically even, especially considering Somerset also have a 2 combo. Duck looking to make it 4 with another stack. There's plenty of grain over there on both sides. It'll be interesting to see how much more time they spend bailing up and then how many minutes they leave themselves to get all the bales they have into the barn.
Yeah, interesting that the game is saying there's 0 grain currently on the blue side right now when I jump over there and I can see plenty of grain there to be collected. Granted, we'll see if they do go for it. What we do see as well is, oh no, Peanut Butter Woman nearly flips the tractor. It's all well and good though. They landed on all 4 wheels. Duck just continuing to plug away. Another hay bale making its way in as we get down to those final 5 minutes. This is when you want to see, time to start scoring those points as Duck drops another one off the conveyor belt. Peanut Butter Woman with the chance to, get a nice little chunk of points back in favor of the blue side.
Yeah, another uncharacteristic mistake from Duck. Don't think he'll let that affect him as he just goes to line up another bale. That looks a bit wonky from Peanut Butter Woman. Rectifies that. That looks better. That'll go up. And a 2.1 times. That's what they need, I think, here. Forest Lake. They need more of that from Peanut Butter Woman and maybe even Danny Boy.
Yeah, I think this is, again, where I want to start seeing these hay bales that are all scattered around each of these barns start to get put in. Now, Again, Somerset, it always looks like they're a bit more efficient because they don't have the piles just sitting outside, and except for the one that Duck accidentally dropped before. We have our super power-ups, though, about to spawn, and this is going to be, I think, the make-or-break moment, seeing who goes for any of these, because they can be quite strong and game-changing at the moment. Well, it looks like neither team has realistically made a move. We do see that will be Remonster was having to think about it, could be running up for it. You have 20 points just straight up for grab, and that's exactly where Remonster is heading.
Yeah, as Forest Lake score another 21 points, I think that was. But they have 9 bales on the field and 3 minutes 40 to go. This is almost identical to the situation they were in last game. I don't think they have time unless, as they do now, have 2 people getting bales up and 1 person collecting all the bales that are scattered across the map and bringing them over here. But they can't be affording to waste time going back and forth as Useless Snow finally gets it up.
Yes, Snow is finally able to get that one on the conveyor belt, and you have Peanut Butter Woman directly behind, just trying to follow it through. I think there is potentially enough time for Forest Lakes. I actually don't want to write them out of this one because you can see they have the 5 bales in the area. More is going to be coming, you would have to assume, with Danny Boy coming with that other baler. 3 minutes is enough time to get them all in, but they need a collapse at the same time token from the Somerset side, who also has 2 there ready to load. The big thing, Remonster doesn't have the confidence to go for the conveyor belt like Duck does. If everyone on the Forest Lake side can consistently get these hay bales on that conveyor belt, there is very much a chance they can come back in this one.
Yeah, but another 10 points might be all that Somerset need. Remonster continuing, as much as it's not as much as it would be on the conveyor. 10 points is still 10 points, and it's still furthering the gap that Forest Lake need to bridge as they continue to try get as many on the conveyor as they can. That looks good from Useless Snow. It is getting tighter in this last 2 minutes, 20 seconds.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the time is absolutely there. I mean, it was just a minute ago that gap was 100. The gap now very much less, and there's still more hay bales for Forest Lakes to collect. If all these can get on that conveyor belt, they're going to take the lead. The pressure is now, I feel like, on Duck needing to connect with this double stack as we hit those final 2 minutes, but the baler was left in their way, so they're going to have to kind of take that long way around. Meanwhile, Useless Snow and Peanut Butter Woman have been so consistent in hitting this conveyor belt. They are within striking distance. Forest Lake is making this comeback happen.
Yeah, Duck can't afford to let either of these 2 fall off the side. That looks pretty good to me, though. That'll be another 38 points, I think.
Yeah, that will be. But those 38 points can get matched again. The hay bales have been there for Forest Lakes. They're going to try to race to bring them back. But with that double stack going through, that could be big. Remonster, though, has flipped, and that could be the opening, perhaps. Forest Lakes, if they can start getting it through now before Remonster corrects themselves, they do correct themselves. The question is, are they going conveyor belt? Are they going for the lower barn? Either way, this game is going to come down to the wire.
And there's Wendy now. All 3 of the Somerset College players inside this semicircle where the barn is. Looks like the stream may have frozen, but we'll continue trying to talk over as Remonster gets another one on the conveyor belt. That looks good. That'll go up, and that'll get another 19 points.
No, it will not.
It fell. That looked straight as, but no.
Yeah, no, that one was going to fall, but which one does look straight is the hay bale that just got placed by Peanut Butter Woman. That one's going to make its way into that barn, and that should be enough to give Forest Lake the lead. 30 seconds to go. Somerset just needs to get them in the lower box, but everyone is driving away from it. In desperation, Useless Snow gets another 10 in. Duck in the way, blocking Remonster. Forest Lake may have just made this comeback happen. Another one in the lower block. 10 seconds to go, and here's one thrown in. Remonster loses the second, but they needed it on the upper hill barn instead. It's not going to happen, and Forest Lakes take game number 2.
Wow, what a close game that was. I'm not going to lie, I thought Somerset had that.
I know, and I kept telling you, look at what's on the barn. Look at where they are. Forest Lakes finally put that late flurry of points into action. It was the first time they had the players in position to capitalize on it. You could see it coming from about 3 minutes away. Hold on, they have this, and they are finally able to put this one in.
Yeah, rarely do I say this, but I think Forest Lake may have played that almost perfectly. They had 0 undelivered bales left. They left it to the perfect time. They probably didn't have enough time to get many more points, but they did just enough to outscore that Somerset team. Had Somerset been able to get 2 of those 3 bales left around their area in that bottom section, it would have been a different game, but Forest Lake making the most of a potential mistake, and it just shows that one of those bales that fell off the conveyor from Duck earlier on in the game, that could have been the difference as well.
Well, there's still going to be some plenty games left to play. Again, this is a best of 5. Now going to be a best of 3. So we're going to be throwing it to a break. But when we come back, game 3 of this grand final.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
The undefeated team has finally fallen, at least in terms of a game, not necessarily a match. Somerset dropped one to Forest Lakes in the final seconds and are now going to be looking for revenge. Callum, this grand final starting to live up to the hype.
Yeah, it's certainly looking like a closer series already. The first time Somerset have lost a game so far. I'm curious to see how they'll bounce back mentally. They won't want to let that get into their head. They won't want Forest Lake to get momentum. And I think this game 3 could be critical in the whole series as overall.
Yeah, I have to sort of like agree in that sense, because what we saw from Somerset at the tail end was panic in getting some points in. They had a minute to get those 3 hay bales through, and they couldn't get them through in that lower door. And had they only gotten 2 of the 3, well, they would have wound up winning that game. However, Forest Lake, they were the team that was calm under pressure. They finally had the players around available, able to secure all the points for the bales they had made. Whether or not that continues again here in Game 3, we will see as we go back through our band phase.
Yeah, and we did see a couple of uncharacteristic errors from a couple of the Somerset players who have normally been so consistent. A couple of those fallen bales off the conveyor belt could have been the difference in that last game. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back this game. Try to clean up those errors. Not give Forest Lake a chance.
We'll see if they're going to be able to sort of put that in. Again, I'm not expecting any changes. The meta is the meta for the reason, so I'm expecting that to continue. The only thing that I want to see change is to make sure that, you know, Peanut Butter Woman actually has a perk for them available, because that was a mistake, I feel like, in their picks and bans. If that gets fixed up, there's a chance that we can see an even stronger Forest Lakes.
Yeah, although it is the first time in the 4 games that these two have versed each other. First time Forest Lake have come away with the win, so maybe it's an omen, maybe it's some sort of superstition from Peanut Butter Woman. But no, I do agree with you that, especially when there were points in the bank, not picking a perk was a strange decision, as I'm sure we'll see the bottleneck. Yeah,
bottleneck, AGCO, and the John Deere. I mean, the John Deere as a harvester is the best one in the game at this stage right now. Like, that has kind of just been unequivocally like proven time and time again, as we do get ready to go right now, starting with Useless Slow and Remonster. Do we see those same perks? Do we see those same tractors at the moment? Yeah, it's looking pretty similar.
Yeah, and again, then probably not going to change something that isn't broken. Forest Lake winning their first game, but Somerset winning their previous every other game that they've played. Oh, no perk coming out from Remonster. I wonder what that could be about. But I mean, we'll see whether there's a strategy there, whether they're saving more points for later on. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, under pressure is going to be taken by both sides right now. I mean, there is a possibility we could be seeing something along those lines, as like you want to make sure you get accurate perks, as Archimedes is going to be hovered. Meanwhile, Easy Stack will be used on the opposite side. And yeah, there is going to be some perk points left up. Even if Easy Stack had been selected by Remonster, you still would have even had 1 in that situation. So not too sure what happened there, but it is what it is. And what it is 1 perk down on the side of Somerset. Either way, we're heading back to the farm. We're putting 15 minutes back on the clock. Winner of this game advances to tournament point in this best of 5 because we are tied at 1 apiece. We won't be in 15 minutes, though. Game is on.
Yeah, and that looked like a good start from Forest Lake there. As the gates open, they were instantly out. But yeah, I'm curious to see, because I think if Forest Lake win this, they might have momentum to take into match point. So I think Somerset will be really, really desperate to win this one, as yeah, it looks like the same start that both sides normally go for.
What's interesting, though, is it looks like this is second game in a row where Forest Lakes has been that faster team. And that was one of the big reasons why I feel like they won that last game, as a chance to get that second harvester. Useless Snow thinking about it, called off by Peanut Butter Woman, though communication a little bit slow in coming together, but the end result is still the same. Forest Lake, they get 2 harvesters real quick out there. However, on the other side, it's actually a double baler strat coming through for the Somerset team.
Yeah, maybe they think that Wendy can carry the harvesting load on their own and can afford to get more bales, although they did have 3 spare at the end of last game. Had they managed to put those in, they would have probably taken it. So who knows what the strategy is here or why they think that needing more bales is necessary, but we'll see.
I mean, the double baler strategy works in this situation because it could also mean 2 people loading the bales into the barn, right?
True.
As opposed to having 2 harvesters driving around with excess grain all over the place, which is something that all these teams have had throughout. So I actually like this approach better. I like the double baler over the single harvester because more bales does equal more points. You just have to make sure you're sending people to secure those points, as it will be Somerset getting over the bridge first. That means Danny Boy has to take the long way around. That is, by the way, what causes the bridges to lift. Whenever one player on either side goes over the bridge, it will then lift 5 seconds later. However, just because Remonster may have gone over the bridge and gotten there a bit faster, does that mean they will get the first hay bale? I'm not so certain. Danny Boy's going to deliver theirs off the baler a little bit closer. Remonster, though, is going to try to kind of force it through underneath. Didn't actually grab the hay bale, and it's going to be a race to see who gets those first points.
Yeah, and I think Remonster's left their baler in a bit of an awkward spot. They can't get around the bales to push them into the bottom section.
Duck's going in, though, right?
Yeah,
like, Duck just gets it.
Duck's fine. Duck will, yeah, that's 76 points. So because of how early they scored them, 74 points for Forest Lake. So I think, yeah, the play to get the first bale in as soon as you can was a good one from both sides, as another bale goes in the bottom from Remonster that time.
Duck is going to be lining up, though, one for the conveyor belt, whereas it looks like Forest Lakes, they got that one in. They got that big burst of points, but now they're going back for something a little bit more conventional. Remonster, I imagine, is going to take that baler and sort of head back out as well, leave it to Duck to collect those points on that conveyor belt, and that's going to be the name of the game. Meanwhile, just taking a look out on the fields right now, you can see, I believe that is going to be Wendy looking to start collecting points. No, not quite that far down. Wendy's actually just now kind of taking the harvester back deeper into that field and should be making their way to the multiplier quite soon, as speed limit got picked up from both these teams, and that's going to slow each side down.
Yeah, both sides picking the same perk at around the same time, so basically cancels each other out. As we see Wendy driving over towards the silo. 4 bales to 2 in favor of the Forest Lake side, but obviously Somerset 32 points ahead at this early stage in the game with 11 minutes 20 to go.
That said, Wendy, though, is about to start adding to that multiplier, and you can see no one from Forest Lakes really in position to respond just yet. Just make sure that you're able to get that drive safely across, and the multiplier should start to go up. Meanwhile, at the barns, again, nobody really hanging out there either. Remonster is going to head back out there with the baler. Duck already in that position. On the other side, Peanut Butter Woman was doing a good job sort of harvesting a good chunk of grain, but other than that, I don't know, seems a little discombobulated at the moment for the Forest Lake side.
Yeah, they're not looking as efficient as they were last game. Like, they're not exactly all over the place, but they're not as strategic as they were last game. Probably, maybe not communicating as well as they were last game, as we see Wendy get that multiplier up to 2.2. Probably going to get to around 2.4 with the amount of grain in that harvester there.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Only about 4,000 left, and it should get to 2.4, maybe even 2.5 actually. No, it's going to be tight, and I think they're just off the 2.5 mark.
Yeah, but that's going to be a lot for Forest Lake to claw back if someone does want to get that multiplier back. I'm curious whether or not they will challenge that. Surely they will eventually, but right now Duck looking to line up another double stack.
I mean, yeah, Duck made a couple mistakes last game, but usually Duck has been quite consistent in these. And when Duck has been consistent, points have been scored. Remonster coming as well to send a few more points their way. Meanwhile, on the side of Forest Lakes, it's still been all about just getting those hay bales out there and getting the, well, at this stage, it's Danny Boy just getting the baler out and just having hay bales across the field, it looks like, for Peanut Butter Woman to collect. Meanwhile, Useless Snow has a nice full trailer full of grain. That's going to be going to try to fix the multiplier back in favor of Forest Lakes. If they can time it right, could be quite strong for them. As it stands right now, Duck with the double. Underneath them, Peanut Butter Woman's going for the single. Ghosted at the moment. That double looks clean. That double looks good. Or
might go off the right. It might go off the right. It'll be interesting to see whether or not that stay holds true. Duck will be holding his breath here. It looks good to me. Yeah, that looks good. That'll make it. That's another 48 points for the orange side. But look at how fast that bar is going up the top on that blue side, and it's already back to a 2.1 to.
Yeah, and look at the timing of this as well. As the hay bale is on its way up, this is going to be a massive amount of points.
2.7, I think that will get. No, not quite. 2.6. That'll be 26 points for Forest Lakes side with another 2 to come.
And look at all the hay bales that Forest Lakes has set up for Peanut Butter Woman to capitalize on right now. This is such a strong start. This is one of the strongest starts I've seen from any of our teams so far in this event. Forest Lakes, if they can get all these hay bales in within the next minute or two with this multiplier so heavily in their favor, this is going to be the first time they will have had a dramatic lead in front of Somerset at the halfway point of a game. That said, first perks have spawned in. Trying to spot where they are right now. The drop has spawned. It's all the way down here, actually.
Yeah. By the silo there.
What if we got available? We have bale drop or one bale to be spawned near your barn and bale multiplier. That bale multiplier has to be the one that these teams should be considering.
Yeah, you'd think so. They've got 40 seconds to get over there and select a power up. It doesn't look like, if we look at the minimap down the bottom, is anyone going to contest?
It looks like Useless Snow is going to come in and just going to grab that bale multiplier, which is really good because, well, look who's getting those points right now. It's Forest Lakes, so everything is coming together. They have the 1.5 multiplier on top of their 2.6 multiplier. This is a lot of points going Forest Lake's way.
Yeah, they're starting to peak at the right time. I think if Forest Lake starting to get used to these mechanics in the game as Peanut Butter Woman looking to get another one up. That one looks good up the top for 39 points. Ooh. That is massive.
And it looks like they're going to get even another 39-pointer as well. Peanut Butter Woman's able to line this one up and put it through. Duck has still been consistent in getting all those points on to the conveyor belt for the side of Somerset. However, it's just not as efficient at this stage. That multiplier is so good, and that's going to be another 38-pointer coming through as well as it makes its way straight up the middle. And yeah, we're not even at the 5 minutes remaining mark yet, and Somerset is going to have over 200 points in this round.
Forest Lake, yeah, they will.
Forest Lake, yeah.
And if we look at the bottom left, they also have more bales out on the field than Somerset. So if they were to get all these bales in and Somerset weren't, look at that lead. It's grown out to a 52-point lead, but Wendy is now trying to claw back some of this multiplier, not going up as fast as Forest Lake side was. That'll get to 1.7, maybe 1.9, but it'll still be the multiplier in favor of Forest Lake, I believe, when all that grain is out. Yeah,
I think it's only going to be at 1.8. Yeah, it's not even going to get to 1.9. So 1.8 still is going to make this within striking distance, but for the most part, this is so good at the moment for this Forest Lake team, and there's just been a consistent supply of hay bales up that conveyor belt. It feels like they're always there for collection. Granted, there's still 6 on the field for Forest Lake. There are 8 available for Somerset, but Somerset needs to pick up the pace in getting them up on that conveyor belt right now, especially because you cannot afford to really play around with the multiplier anymore in those final 5 minutes. Where you're at here is kind of where you need to stay. This is the point where everyone needs to come together and just get as many points in as possible.
Yeah, whoever's bailing for Forest Lake is doing a very good job. They have a lot of bales around it, to the point where, it's Danny Boy, where both Useless Snow and Peanut Butter Woman are trying to get more bales up. They can afford to have 2 people committed on the point scoring because Danny Boy's doing such a good job of supplying the bales for both of them.
Yeah, and you have to remember, too, the record for the most points scored so far in that round was what Somerset did. It was 326. At the pace that Forest Lake is going, they could very easily beat that.
Oh, I think that'll be beat easily. I think Forest Lake might even push 400 points here. They've got 4.5 minutes left. And if that bale from Peanut Butter Woman gets up there, which is looking quite nice, that'll get them to 296. That puts them within striking distance of the highest score of the day.
6 senses are activated. Yeah, that's right. In about 10 seconds, though, the real game changers are about to spawn. Those next perks could sort of flip things back around. We'll see what they are. We'll see who will go for them. We have a multiplier switch, which would be pretty handy, I feel like, for that Somerset side if they can have it at that right moment. And I'm lost where the other one was. I thought it was spawning right up here. Oh, no, it's all the way over there. It's just the multiplier switch. It's the only one.
Huh.
Well, multiplier switch is available should Somerset look to grab it. It only works for 15 seconds, however, so the timing is critical, and they only have 30 seconds if they want to commit to it. Here comes that commit as I say that, so the multiplier switch is in effect for the next 15 seconds. Yeah, it's switched around, but Peanut Butter Woman, well, doesn't really care because it's not going to result in any points.
Yeah, there's no Somerset player to put any bales in, as Duck tries to, but that won't get up in time as the multiplier switch ends. By the time that blue bale gets up there, it will be back. But Wendy, I think that is over at the silo, trying to equalize these multipliers. Yeah, will go back to 2.0.
I'm not sure this is the right play to make, though, right now, because if you were Somerset, you needed to be doubling down on the points that you had. The multiplier might not have been in your favor, but it wasn't by much, and you needed to really get those 7 bales that are still out and about on that farm into your barn. Again, that is 7 bales worth of points that is being left out. And when you're down by over 100, you need each and every one of them.
Yeah, and it's looking like Peanut Butter Woman now going for a double stack at the same time that Duck is. So if Peanut Butter Woman gets even one of these 2 stacked on the conveyor belt, that will easily break the record for today. I think they might push 400 points here.
I don't think they're going to push 400 points because realistically right now, when we look at the amount of bales that are on each side, Forest Lake just needs to lower barn it. If they lower barn just even 2, those 2 that just got double stacked, they would have been able to put this game out of reach. They didn't do that. They put a double stack in, and that's doubly going to put this game out of reach. Forest Lake's 2 minutes to go. They are just really trying to get further and further ahead. Yeah, Doug may have just got that double stack, and this double stack might not go in, actually. It does, and with that, I feel as if, Forest Lakes, they have a situation right now where Somerset needs to create a bale, get all 6 of them on the conveyor belt with Forest Lakes not scoring any points. They're a bale short. They're short percentage-wise. Everything is short right now on the Somerset side. This has been Forest Lake domination.
Yeah, I think Forest Lake have really, really peaked at the perfect time. They've broken the record, and Peanut Butter Woman is still going for this conveyor belt. That'll get them up to 399 points, so surely they do break that 400 mark. No one has got past that today, and realistically, there's no chance that Somerset get that. So I think we'll be seeing Forest Lake 2-1 up with plenty of momentum going into Game 4.
Yeah, Forest Lake will be doing enough to secure this one in. The final minute of play is ticking down. They're going to crack that 400 mark, and they're going to keep going as well. Peanut Butter Woman has just been constantly supplying bale after bale on this conveyor belt, and it's just been chugging points up. Boom, 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 boom. 37 seconds remaining, and now the pressure is doubled on this Somerset side because they had a good round. Like, this has not been a poor performance by Somerset. They're still cracking 300 as well for the 3rd time today. But when your opponents are hitting 400, when your opponents are starting to get their timing synergies in, you're going to be in trouble. Forest Lake, if they put another performance like this, 469 points, they're going to be our champions.
Yeah, and Forest Lake, their momentum is brilliant right now, but I really have to credit the as they jump around to celebrate, Danny Boy, Baylor, the whole game was brilliant, managing to get the perfect amount of bales to allow Peanut Butter Woman to have a constant supply of bales to get on that conveyor. That was really class from Forest Lake, as they got 19 total bales in with only one undelivered. I mean, Somerset weren't bad either.
I mean, it was one undelivered on each side, but the big thing was timing that percentage change at the exact moment that the constant supply hit that conveyor belt. That entire game felt like it was a numbers advantage in favor of Forest Lakes when it mattered most. So Somerset, they had a good showing. I think they misplayed a little bit at the end when they tried to even out, the multipliers. They should have stuck with the multipliers they had and focused more on creating bales to put in. However, I can understand, consistently throughout the day, they have been playing the multiplier game, and they've been winning it. This is the first time they've lost that multiplier battle, and it may have shaken them a bit.
Yeah, Forest Lake challenged them at their own game and won convincingly. 156 point margin in that game 3. They have the momentum, so I really think that that Somerset will need to bounce back in this game 4.
I mean, they have to, otherwise they're going to be out of this event, and we will be calling Forest Lakes our champions. Look, we are potentially one game away from ending the Young Farmers Cup. We're going to be going to a break. When we come back, it's going to be game 4 in this best of 5. Stay with us. More Farming Simulator in just a few moments.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
This afternoon has been amazing so far, and we have the potential to make it go one step beyond. Somerset was undefeated before coming into this grand final. They even won the first game in this best of 5 series. However, Forest Lake just broke our single game scoring record. They looked more efficient than any team has in this entire competition, and they are now on the precipice of winning the Young Farmers Cup.
Yeah, Forest Lake looked really, really good last game. Breaking this, not even breaking, they smashed the highest score for today. They got 469 points, was it, I think?
Yep.
That is a monumental score, especially considering most of the players today are new to Farming Simulator.
And here's the crazy thing about Forest Lakes as well. They won the Rocket League event that we had just a couple days ago. This high school going for back-to-back championships here at the EKKA. It's been phenomenal to watch thus far. They have a chance to do it again. Danny Boy, Peanut Butter Woman, as well as Useless Snow. This trio, they hit their groove that last game. If they can keep that momentum going, they can win out. However, Somerset, it was just a couple little mistakes. I feel like they can easily get right back in this.
Yeah, we can't count Somerset out yet. They've shown us how good they can be in the earlier series, but it'll take a next level to beat this Forest Lake side, I think, especially with how well they played last game. As, again, we see the medal loadouts chosen. No surprises there.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. John Deere, AGCO, and Bottleneck your opponents up. Again, this is where things have been getting interesting, because twice now we have seen players opt out of taking a solo perk for themselves, and I am more than happy for people who know this game greater than I do to sort of explain to me why would that be the case, because I feel like once is a mistake, twice is a pattern. However, we'll see if that's the case. At the moment, though, no missed perks. Runner makes its first reappearance after a good long while.
Yeah, they were both on different sides in consecutive games. I think it was Remonster that missed out on his perk last game. I believe that Remonster was the one that normally chooses Runner, as Duck goes for easy stack this time. Both Peanut Butter Woman and Duck this time going for easy stack. I believe Duck normally goes for under pressure.
Yeah, that's interesting. Duck, I think, not wanting to get caught out like they did in game number 3. So they will be looking to go ahead and change that out. And we do look to see our last ones. Under pressure will be taken by Danny Boy. Archimedes, of course, on Wendy. So the real difference is the under pressure versus the runner. Somerset, I don't hate this runner decision because they have been the slower team out of the gates a little bit, but at the same token, you don't really run out of the gates, you kind of drive out of them.
Yeah, I felt that last game, without Remonster's runner, they did seem the slower side, Somerset. I didn't notice it that much in the first couple of games when the runner was equipped, but last game it did seem that Forest Lake had the edge in speed and efficiency. Yeah,
so we'll see if that comes together here as we do make our way, I suppose, on to the farm this time around. And as per usual, Somerset, Wendy, this time is going to be the first one to that first harvester. The double harvester strat, though, Useless Snow has gone ahead and already secured that second harvester for when they want it. Peanut Butter Woman screaming down the hill, barely able to keep that in control. Needs to avoid the tree, just barely does so. And that's going to be Peanut Butter Woman, who we don't normally see in the harvester this early, getting running. So a little bit of a change of strats from both of these teams as we start game number 4.
Yeah, Wendy normally starts harvesting that field on the left there, as we can see, but obviously losing 2 games in a row, maybe they feel the need to change up their strats a bit. Maybe they're trying to get in the heads of Forest Lake. We don't know yet, but we'll see if it pays off for them.
Well, what we do know is that is Danny Boy up there just going to go ahead and grab that baler and just secure, a couple bales in favor of that side in blue. The same thing, though, can be said right now by Duck for the red side of Somerset, who has also collected that far baler. They're going to start bringing it back, and both these teams racing to get those first points in. And going by this race, it is Forest Lakes who are currently out in front, which is interesting because last game, it was Somerset that got the first bale in.
Yeah, Somerset did get the first bale in last game, but they were outpaced throughout the rest of the game by Forest Lake, who were consistent in getting their bales in. They always had a constant stream, which is something that Somerset maybe lacked during certain periods of the game, as we see Danny Boy going the safe route across the wide bridge. Looks as though that's lined up nicely. Yep. Yeah, both going around the outside, but it will be Forest Lake who score first.
Well,
points.
maybe
I think if Danny Boy gets that down.
Yeah, we can't. You can't say that when they haven't scored the points yet. They still need to get it in. It looks like Danny Boy is just going to try to unload it straight into the barn, but may have pushed it a bit too deep. Meanwhile, in contrast, Remonster is trying to dump it a little bit deeper. We'll see if Danny Boy is going to be able to put that bale right inside. It's actually kind of stuck against the door. Not able to get it through just yet. Yeah, you did it to yourself.
Yeah,
as Remonster will not get it in yet. Just has to readjust, reverse it, and put it through. 69 points. That's going to be Somerset getting that first bale in.
Yeah, I thought Danny Boy would get that first bale in, but apparently not. May have commentators cursed them as, detaches the baler. Goes for that bale. Still wants to get as many early bonus points as possible.
As we take a look at sort of Wendy's pathing right now, I have to admit that's a little bit of a weird one. Normally it's a lot more straight. Either way, the first parks have sort of hit the farm. You can raise your opponent's bridges for 2 minutes, or you can speed limit your opponents for 90 seconds at a 20% speed limit. These are each very, very strong. Either way, it's going to be Remonster securing the raising of the bridges, and well, that's going to be unfortunate, I suppose, for the Forest Lake side. No bridges available to them for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, 69 to 52 point lead in favor of Somerset early on, but Duck has more bales. He's going to line that up with the conveyor, and there aren't really any bales over the side of Forest Lake. Actually, there's none across the entire field, I don't think. They have 0 bales in the bottom left, so...
Yeah, I mean, well, at the moment you can see Useless Snow is going ahead and just using that harvester, creating those harvest trails. Peanut Butter Woman, who's normally the one who is kind of working on the hay bales and putting them in, was actually kind of driving around initially with the harvester because they went for that 2 harvest strat. Now they're going and collecting that trailer, it looks like, so they could be looking to actually add the multiplier game before switching things up. It's been a different approach from the Forest Lakes, and I'm not sure I like it at the start.
Yeah, I don't understand why they've necessarily changed their tactics up a bit, unless it's unintentional, but it seems as though that bale from Duck is good with a 2 times multiplier. That will get them over the 100-point mark.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very quickly over the 100-point mark. That is going to be Somerset now. All right. Now, also, since you mentioned the fact that there were no bales available for Forest Lakes, they have been kind of moving along and bailing along. It is Danny Boy who has been on bailing duty. As we take a look way up the hill, you can see Peanut Butter Woman actually not really sure what she's going for. Just jump up ahead. Ah! The mystery is... No, that doesn't solve the mystery at all. I'm not really sure where Peanut Butter Woman is going, actually, at this stage. I guess they're going all the way up here for her tractor, but that's all the way up the hill, and it is a long run. Good thing Peanut Butter Woman does practice cardio, however, as they do get themselves in that tractor and will get themselves involved once again. Meanwhile, though, back on that other side, it should be worth noting, actually. It looked as if I thought... One sec. Somerset, no, I thought they were going in for more points, but no, they're still just continuing to bail and harvest. And, yep, here comes more of those bales. Remonster coming through with 3 available, and you know they're going straight for that conveyor belt.
Yeah, again, Forest Lake, they don't really have any bales. They've got that one on the left side, but they don't have, obviously, because Peanut Butter Woman is running across the map. They'll be a bit delayed to get those in. As interesting pathing as well from Forest Lake.
Yeah, it's not really the straight lines that you're accustomed to seeing. It's a lot more curvy. Granted, at least it's close to the barn. The same can't be said for Somerset, who did a lot of their harvesting quite deep into their farm. So not really ideal from either side, but you have to agree, like Somerset at this stage has had the hotter start.
Yeah, they definitely have the advantage here, although as Peanut Butter Woman tries to line that one up, it would be good for them to claw some points back. It's still a 2.0 to 2.0 multiplier. No side making a play for that silo by the looks at all so far.
Yeah, that's actually a little bit surprising because if you look down at the map as well, neither side are going for the silo just yet. That could change, I think, in a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see Forest Lake make the play for it eventually. I feel like they might have to if they're going to want to come back in this one because there are so many hay bales right now scattered just outside that Somerset barn. The multiplier might be needed from this Forest Lake side. The Peanut Butter Woman, though, is going to go for the double stack, and it should be an easy one to kind of knock in as we get ready to see what our next sort of perks are going to be. You can speed yourself up, or you can close the silo for 91 seconds. So if you're worried about that multiplier, that's the one you want to grab.
Yeah, and I could be wrong here, but if we switch over to the Somerset side, it does look like they might be preparing to make a push for the silo.
Oh, they're racing for the closing of the silo, and Forest Lake gets there first. Each side will close the silo, but as you were saying, well, no, it doesn't look like anyone was making a play for the silo. So, not sure what you saw right there. Seeing ghosts.
Thought in the middle the trailer might have been being readied up by Somerset, but maybe they'll abandon that now as the silo's closed.
Triple stack.
Triple stack from Peanut Butter Woman, trying to line that up. It will be interesting to see whether or not... No, backs out of it for now, unless Peanut Butter Woman is going for a quad stack. Surely not.
No, that's ridiculous. You don't...
Surely.
That would be insane. However, when you're down by 50 points, maybe you go for crazy plays.
They are.
But
Maybe.
At the same token, there's still so much time left. Just get the easy points while you can. You don't want to be left with hay bales hanging around. It actually looks like Peanut Butter Woman.
Yeah,
it's
went
just
around.
skipping. Yeah, went around. Just get the guaranteed points. Put that in. I believe that's the right call. Duck has been the consistent one when it comes to getting these, hay bales on that conveyor belt. Now in a really good spot. So many hay bales for Duck to just start putting them in. It's now time for Somerset to start scoring some points.
Yeah, but I did notice that last game there were a couple of mistakes again from Duck in lining up the conveyor belt. I don't think Somerset can afford to make those mistakes again with how good Forest Lake have been. We know how good they can be in the second half of the game. They've got 11 bales stacked across the map. As, there's the blue team making that play towards the silo, which will reopen in 1 second. There it is.
Yep, here we go. Useless Snow is now going to play that multiplier game. How high do they want to push it? Remembering that there's only 6 minutes left. and this team has 11 bales across the farm. You do not want to go too high. You don't want to go to 3.0, and that could be the case as they do cut it off at the very edge. So now it is time for Forest Lake to get going on that conveyor belt. Unfortunately for the Forest Lake side, they didn't really time it that well, or did they? The double stack with the 2.9, that's going to be a lot of points. That's enough to take the lead. Forest Lake, 5.5 minutes remaining. They're back in first, but that lead most likely will be short-lived because Duck has all the bales needed to get a significant advantage for the Somerset side. But more likely than not, they're going to have to use that lower entrance.
Yeah, I think the Somerset side, if I look at the minimap, maybe making a play for the silo themselves to try get... Yeah, there's Remonster trying to get that multiplier leveled out again.
Oh, it's awkward.
It's a bit awkward for him.
It is awkward, and this is killing. That's very awkward. Yeah, because he's a little bit off-centered right there. You can see down below he wasn't able to get it centered up, and now it's stuck. And this is more and more time that you would think Forest Lake would be able to take advantage of that sort of of the 2.9 multiplier. It looks like Remonster may have fixed it. Can you dump it like that? That doesn't seem OH&S correct. Yeah. Remonster definitely struggling right here as this is happening. Unfortunately for Peanut Butter Woman, there weren't that many bales available up for grab, and at this stage, Danny Boy and Useless Snow, they need to get those 11 bales, well now 8, that are scattered across that farm into their own backyard. I'm still not sure where they're giving up. Have we given up on the trailer?
Surely not. That's normally throughout the series, that's been
Wendy they've given up.
Who's been going for the silo, but this 2.9 times advantage that Forest Lake have, plus the points advantage, surely they can't be leaving that.
They had to, like, again, too much time. And look at all these hay bales right now just outside for Duck to start putting in. You're not going to want to use the conveyor belt. You're going to have to get them through, but that's only 10 points for each on the lower side. It's 11 points for up above. And if you look at the point differential, 5 bales with the most you could get, 11 per bale, that is not enough. So yeah, abandon the multiplier, get more bales pumping. Somerset, they had such a good start, and it is all falling apart.
And Forest Lake have just got the 2 bale perk with the 2.9 times. That has boosted their score significantly. They're now 135 points ahead with 3.5 minutes to go, and it's looking like it might be slipping away from Somerset a bit here.
As it stands, the most amount of points that Somerset can get is 55 unless they create more bales. And even then, you have to create the bales, get them on the conveyor belt, and get that conveyor belt through at 11 per piece. They need to start moving right now. Duck might be lining everything up. That's all well and good. But the rest of the team needs to get a move on as well. I mean, we can take a look at them right now. Remonster is coming desperately to try to get that baler. I'm having a look for where Wendy is. And
at the silo.
Not just there.
At the silo. Wendy's at the silo, I think, trying to line it up.
Yeah, they need to get that multiplier going. I suppose
really
that is
quickly.
an option. But with only 5 bales, you can get it to 2.9 maybe if there's enough there. But they're still struggling to line up. That looks like it could be good. You have to go. You have to try at this stage. You're committing to the multiplier strat. You're committing to try to put it through that way. The question is, will it be enough? As Wendy still hasn't even started to unload yet, I think it's just like a little bit jammed and it's a little bit off center.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on by the silo. There it goes. Oh, look at that bar go, though.
Yeah, they need it.
That will quickly go in favor of Somerset. And now Duck needs to line these up and get them up quickly as Useless Snow gets one on the conveyor belt. Any points are good points for Forest Lake at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, Forest Lake, they're just trying to make as much of a gap as possible. 7 bales are up for grabs right now, but there was only enough grain to make it 2.1. The reason why they're not trying to make it 2.9 is because the higher percentage, the slower that conveyor belt moves. So you have to kind of match that speed for the efficiency, especially in these final 2 minutes. But with the sheer amount of bales that Forest Lake has been able to put in, Useless Slow, again, just consistently chunking them through, I don't know if there's enough time. I don't know if there's enough bales. A nearly 120-point differential right now. That is, I would say it's about 5 or 6 bales away. There's only 5 on the farm in and of itself. I think Forest Lake has mathematically won.
Yeah, with 8 spare bales, Forest Lake, all they need to do is get 1 or 2 of them up on that conveyor, even with the times 1.9, and I'd say that series and the tournament is theirs. But Somerset, they're going to do all they can. I don't know whether it'll be enough, but yeah, especially as they keep lining up Forest Lake. more and more bales going up. The points differential is getting out of hand here with less than a minute to go.
It is, like literally less than a minute. This is happening all in favor of that Forest Lake side. And again, this school, I mean, they've been so consistent in every esport they seem to approach. They were coming here to have a good time. They're coming here to have an accurate go at this. They've only started playing this game as of yesterday, essentially. Yet here they are about to win the Young Farmers Cup. And credit to Somerset as well. They were the Goliath of the event. They were the first team to crack 300. They were the first team to be consistent in the amount of points they were getting. But something in this grand final clicked for Forest Lakes, and they have rode that momentum all the way to this championship.
Yeah, as I've said during this final series, Forest Lake have peaked at the perfect time. They're getting out of their vehicles, they're running around, they're starting their celebrations now, because as this clock expires, that's game, that's set, and that's the tournament for Forest Lake.
Forest Lake get it done. 3 games in a row. Super well played by their side. Condolences to Somerset as well. They were super strong at first, and unfortunately, they just never were able to get that timing quite in the way that Forest Lake was. And as soon as other teams picked up at how Somerset were managing that multiplier, it was it.
Yeah, it was a very high quality series from both sides there. I think both teams playing the best farming sim we've seen all day today. So I have
it's the only farming sim we've seen all day today.
I mean, compared to the other series, though.
True. I mean, okay, so condolences to Earnshaw as well. They have played the game in a different way that I've ever seen this game played.
Yeah, they were very fun to watch.
They were fun to watch. But a big thank you to all of our schools who have come here and who have taken part now. I do believe we have an interview being lined up right now.
You get to kick me off.
Yeah, not even going to give me the joy of saying it. You're just going to say it yourself.
No. Goodbye.
Wow. Thank you very much, Callum, though, for joining us on this broadcast. Obviously, was a lot of fun. Callum has already left. The interviewee is not even sat down yet, and Callum is already gone, so you just have to listen to me for a little bit. Yeah, you get to throw it back to me. Yeah, this is what I've been working with, everybody. Now, I think it's time we get our interviewee in here right now to save this show. I haven't been briefed on who I'm talking to yet, so I'm just going to have to straight up ask. We can put that on. We can have our little chat right now. So which player am I talking to?
I am Carlton Wicks of Forest Lake State High School.
Yeah, all right. So first of all, congratulations on that victory.
Thank you.
Well done. What happened in between games 2 and 3 where everything clicked and you go from struggling to get to 200 to nailing 469?
I'm not going to lie, a lot of our spectators got pretty pissed off that we did not win the first game and gave us some constructive criticism. So thank you to my co-workers at Hungry Jack's and my fellow Forest Lake State High School.
So can we confirm then right now that the people who work at Hungry Jack's are like low-key farming simulator masters?
Yes. One of them says he's a god at farming simulator. The rest, I'm not sure, but I'm sure I'll find out my next shift. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you will as well. But stepping away from Hungry Jack's right now, this is the second event this EKKA that Forest Lake has won. Funnily enough, there's only been 2. First the Rocket League, then this one. What is going on with your esports programs in your school right now? How come you guys are just winning everything?
I think just the environment that we're in, having the new esports lab is really nice. Just having a lot of people that play games, enjoy games, can talk about games is really helpful to have in that environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some dubs.
Yeah, you got the dubs today. And on that note, too, because I was kind of told, like, no one here was really that experienced with Farming Simulator before really preparing for this event. I have to ask them, what kind of games are you typically playing? Like, where is your normal esports drive taking place?
Elden Ring. Yeah, Elden Ring, League of Legends. I was in the league team for our school as well.
Yeah.
Super Smash Bros. A little bit. So we participate in a lot of different esports. So.
Yeah. Excellent. And I could hone in a little bit on the League of Legends one, I suppose, because that is, well, there's going to be InterVarsity League of Legends coming up on the weekend. So that's just going to be a cheeky plug right there. Not really seeing the high school League of Legends this time around at the EKKA. But on that note, playing at the EKKA, playing on the stage, how much of a different experience of that is that for you?
I was playing 2 years ago when we had our previous EKKA farming simulator. It was definitely very fun and enlightening. And as I said then, it's such a great experience to be able to come down and have an actual crowd this time.
Yeah.
Be able to play in front of them.
What we need, though, is that actual stage. Like, get that stage, get that crowd together. That's next year. So that's next year when we put that one together. Look, one last time, congratulations. Before I send you off, is there anyone who you'd like to thank or any sort of shout-outs you'd like to make?
Just teachers, co-workers, fellow students, just everybody that's made this possible, especially like the people working here at XP Esports. It's just been a great time, so thank you very much.
Excellent. I have to agree with you. It's been a lot of fun. Again, congratulations. Well done on turning that around. And good luck in, I suppose, Elden Ring. Because, look, that game's too hard for me. I'm going to straight up admit that. If you can play that and play that well, my hat's off to you.
Thank you.
All right. On that note as well, I do believe we have a second interview as well. A representative, Cameron, from, I'm hoping they are from Somerset. I'm looking at the uniform that is looking like they are from Somerset, so unless, some shenanigans has happened off camera, we do have Cameron from Somerset here to speak with us. And Cameron, first of all, my condolences for the loss. Always unfortunate when you win 3 games in a row and then lose 3 in a row, and that's how it plays out. Was there something that happened, I suppose, in between games 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 when you realized this isn't going our way anymore?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say this was an amazing time, and I thank you guys for coming out and letting us play. And if I'm going to be honest, I think our drawback was, I guess, stress. We did not take it slow, and I think next time we should focus on relax.
I think I know the exact moment you might be referencing to in game number 2 when the bales were just kind of scattered everywhere. It should be worth noting, though, that I think out of all the teams playing, Force Lake included, you did have the most distinct play style where everyone seemed to have a role, you seemed to have an approach to this game, and later the other teams were kind of copying that. So was it something that you pre-planned ahead of time or just something you figured out in the practice that happened this morning?
I believe they tried to see what we did right, but we could not find what they did right, so they took what they could from us, even though we could not take from them.
Yeah.
That's just how it's played.
And that's sometimes how competition works, especially in this LAN environment, which is different, I suppose, from the online environment where you're against new players every time in a situation where people can learn and adapt. Sometimes this does happen. That said, though, Somerset is a school that has been participating in esports for several years right now, and it's always fun to see new sort of generations come in and come through. What's your sort of take on the Somerset esports program, and how has it affected your life?
The Somerset esports program has been a blast. With a bunch of new friends I've met along the way and still keep to this day. 2 years ago, I believe, was the original competition.
Yeah.
And it was actually the exact same team we took on. And we might not have won then, we might not have won now, but sure, it was an amazing time.
Yeah, and I like to think that you had an amazing time, which you did mention at this one as well. So thank you again for showing up. Before I send you home and off and on your way to explore what the EKKA has to offer, do you have any sort of final words, thank yous, or anything you'd like to say to your teammates and your opponents?
Well, I want to thank my teacher who took us here today. I want to thank my teammates. And most of all, I want to thank the opposition, because they played an amazing game and gave it their all. Yeah,
they definitely did. But I feel like you guys played some amazing games as well. You set the benchmark at the start of the day, and I don't think that's anything to discredit at all. So congratulations on your second place. Thank you so much for showing up. And on that note, I'm going to start doing a plug right now. Do bear with me. One last time, I would also like to thank the sponsors for this event. Computer Alliance, EPOS for providing headsets. Guess what? Second place, you're probably going to be walking home with one of these ones as well. So the H3. So congratulations on that, as well as Giant Software for sponsoring this event. Thank you for the EKKA for allowing it to host this once again in front of a crowd. It's been so special. And do make sure to come back again this weekend. Well, this Friday and this weekend. It's going to be InterVarsity League of Legends on Friday and Saturday. Sunday, we have FIFA, we have e-racing. It's going to be a lot of fun. So until Friday, I'll catch you guys around the fairgrounds here.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
I'm 17.
Hi, I'm Zoe Rublev with EKKA TV, and today we're at the RNA's prestigious Paddock to Pallet competition at JBS Beef City.
Huge achievement for us here today. It's a great measure of our genetics and what we're doing there at Yugobar. To come here, and this is a very prestigious event for us, we feel. It's one of the best in the country, and it's a great thing for us just to see that we're keeping up with other fellow breeders in the country, and it's just good to be measured against them and come out with a win today.
Pegro's been breeding Charolais for over 50 years now, so I guess it's got a long history within the breed. And to me, the Charolais bull, there's no bull within the industry that can make such an impact with a one cross and can do it over any type of cow, whether it's Boss Index or British bred cow. In this situation, we've used the Charolais bull over Charolais and Ultra Black, and it's worked really well for us in the past.
This competition is very important for a lot of the exhibitors and the industry in general. I think what it does do, it gives exhibitors and producers an opportunity to benchmark their cattle against their peers. It gives them an opportunity to benchmark their genetics against their own genetics.
For JBS being part of this competition and major sponsors, it's a really good way for us to promote what we do here. We're very proud of what we do, and it's a great opportunity for our staff to also showcase what they do every day without recognition sometimes. They're a really important part of the supply chain, and it's a great competition to focus on what they do. The Raw 100 brand we serve it centred around all around regional Queensland into northern New South Wales. The champion pen judge today, they will end up in the Regatta Boat Shed. So it'll be in the JBS Royal Queensland Steakhouse, and then out on the plaza there's a tasting area there, so they'll be doing the Raw 100 cube roll.
looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city, baby meets animal, and Dagwood meets dog, where primary meets industry, wood meets chop, and monster meets truck, where show meets bag, blue meets ribbon, and strawberry meets Sunday. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Hi, I'm Zoe Rublev with EKKA TV, and today I'm excited to welcome the cattle men and women back to the EKKA after 2 years without a show for EKKA Beef Week.
For me as a teacher, it's introducing these guys to the world of agriculture and cattle and how to handle cattle and be around cattle, and also the exposure, just the diversity of breeds and just the theatre that is the EKKA. I've been coming to the EKKA now for this would have been my 6th year, and it's just every year it's just amazing. The people, the animals, the experience, it's just fantastic.
Lots of preparation, like getting them halter trained, getting their hair trained, make sure they're okay with their feet being touched by canes, and make sure they're quiet, you know.
So we've got Riley here, and we've got a fair few speckles and a couple Anguses.
So you wash them, down, blow dry them. There's special sprays you use and all that too. And then on show day, take them out to the arena, get them all nice and clean, blow dry them off, and then make them all shiny and pretty and send them into the ring.
If we didn't have her, we probably wouldn't come. I'm only doing it for her, so yeah, she wants to. She's right into it, so that's why we do it, and she's got a good interest in it, so that's why we come. It is a big job just to get here, and it costs a lot of money to bring the cattle here and to get them ready particularly for this.
I think that it's really good to have everybody back. We've been off doing other things, trying to make other sections work, just to get through the COVID periods that we've had. But to have everybody back this year, we're just looking to, let's bring it on. Let's bring the EKKA on for 2022.
I'm really looking forward to making sure that we bring the country and the city together. We haven't had a chance to do that for 2 years. For the last few years we've had bits and pieces of aspects of the EKKA, but we haven't really seen the country people come to Brisbane. And as you can see behind me, the country people are arriving in mass, and we want to make sure that we all get together, country and city together, to celebrate what's great about Queensland.
Cattle selection is vitally important in everything we do in the cattle industry. We need to be able to determine which cattle to send to market. At particular times, we need to be able to select our breeding stock as well. Today I'm going to talk to you about a few pointers to look for when selecting prime beef and lead steers. First thing we see when we walk into a pen or walk into a show ring is the fact that we look at their heads, and we can tell a lot from the maturity pattern of our steers. And an early maturing steer is going to be one that will not give us the dollar value at the other end in terms of weight gain. A late maturing steer is going to give us plenty of growth, but will he finish at the other end? So where do we look for fat and where do we look for muscle? I tend to then go directly to the back end of the animal. We look for that width through that stifle region. We look for that back line, and if he's got a top line that doesn't pinch in behind the shoulders, we know that we've got a body of muscle in that animal that we really can work with. The most important part on top of all of that is to be able to finish that muscle with some